watch this guy play in solo queue, he is constantly roaming to top lane, constantly roaming the mid lane, and looking to kind of utilize what were, I think, some of his greatest strengths as a mid laner. And Golden Guardians, is 5-1 right now when their bot lane is ahead in gold, essentially. They're 0-4 when the duo is behind, and that 5-1 stat only requires one member of their bot lane to actually be ahead.
As long as someone's doing okay.
As long as someone is doing well down there, things are going to look good. And in their last game, it wasn't just Huhi who was ahead. FBI was playing very, very well also. We have seen this duo for 2 games thus far. They have been very aggressive in both, and I'm hoping for more of that sort of style. Yes, it did not work out in their game against Optic because, Meteos had some incredible counter ganks that really did shut them down. But, I think this is an exciting look for the Golden Guardians, and if they can consistently play aggressive and have success in that 2v2, then Golden Guardians may be a much better team than shown in the first half of the split.
Absolutely the case. It could be another split that heads them into the playoffs here as they continue to get better over time. And we can see 5-5 versus 3-7. As I mentioned, FlyQuest 2 games currently out of playoffs with only a few more to play. 8 games left counting this one, 4 weeks of play. And now we can see as 2 bans off per side, FlyQuest throwing lots of Enchanter support bans at Golden Guardians. We can see Karma play other roles, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Lux as the 3rd one there.
Yeah, I definitely would not be too surprised. He has also been playing, other kind of mage supports like Vel'Koz and these sorts of things, so certainly does have a pretty flexible champion pool in that regard. In solo queue, you do see him playing a lot of roaming and gate type supports, things along the lines of Leona. Certainly has been a favorite of his, so will be the Sejuani final ban here. So Lux is available. Yuumi certainly not up, and it's going to be a bit of a different look. This is certainly something that everyone was pointing to. This is not definitely an Olay. I believe the graphic is incorrect. It's
FBI and Huhi, yes.
Should be FBI and Huhi. So I was going to say, this is more of an Olay pick, and then I saw his name there, so I was like, wait a second. They pulled the switcheroo, but no, this is going to be Huhi. So we'll see what he can do on the champion, if this signifies them playing a more defensive role in the 2v2 and looking to play side lane. Anytime I see Tahm Kench, I'm always somewhat wondering, are we going to get a more heavy split push style? Are we going to get that type of a look? And with the early Sona, you're expecting very likely Sona Taric to be coming through here for Wild Turtle and Mudeed. Tahm Kench, the other common pairing with the Sona, has already been taken off the table. It is possible that this is just going to be a standard bot laner alongside the Sona,
right? Because
that is very abusive into the Tahm Kench early, but not a lot of teams have been willing to play that sort of style, feeling that Sona is too kind of vulnerable when she is pushing forward and poking.
Sure, well, Tahm Kench Varus definitely can do a lot of damage. You've got inbuilt healing reduction by playing the Varus. Tahm Kench actually has so many base stats. You can walk at people, just hit them, and you'll win the 2-on-2. So that is one thing. When we talked with Olay a few weeks ago, we asked him about Huhi joining the Golden Guardians Academy roster and talk about that. And he's like, oh yeah, no, I gave him some pointers on how to play the matchups. Things like saying, when you're Tahm Kench, you can just play aggressively. You can stat check people. That's a more aggressive matchup than you're playing it and giving him pointers. And so Huhi, of course, with under a year, less than a year under his belt in terms of playing support, those pointers have helped him out, and he's back in the Tahm Kench already. And we'll see as the picks are locked in. There is no immediate tank support. You can see the Taric right away banned out. And to your point, I feel like FlyQuest leaving this up and saying, yeah, go ahead and ban supports means they are trying to do something tricky down there.
Yeah, I definitely think that is the case. I mean, as soon as they locked in the Pobelter Corki, which we're assuming it is a Pobelter Corki, theoretically could be flexed to bot if they want to get really tricky. You're expecting the Taric ban. That does come through. Silas very likely will be playback contracts in the jungle. We saw this a little bit, even in 9-12. It has gotten major buffs on 9-13, and really, I think, has skyrocketed to become the premier jungler, at least up there with Sejuani, and is going to be very, very strong. Excited to see contracts playing it because he does strike me like one of those. Wow, so this is going to be Jarvan top then.
Unless it's Rek'Sai top, I don't think so. I feel like that's much more likely.
No chance of Rek'Sai top.
Fair enough.
I think that would be super trolled. So I am now assuming that this is going to be Jarvan top, Rek'Sai jungle. So FlyQuest really getting tricky here, kind of with the pick ban. And it is hard to know exactly what we are going to see. On the side of Golden Guardians, when you're not sure where things are going to go, you're likely going to look for just the most stable laners, things that are pretty blind pickable, pretty safe.
That's exciting. So we get the Vel'Koz in there with the Aatrox as well. Now, I want to posit the small chance of Tahm Kench top with Vel'Koz support. That's not happening, but I want to put it out there as a possibility.
I would respect it. I mean, Tahm Kench is actually a pretty good matchup in the Jarvan.
Woo!
So there is a small possibility.
That's Riven top, it's Jarvan bot lane.
It's Jarvan Sona bot lane.
Yep.
Okay. We have not seen Jarvan support really since, for quite a while actually. We had been seeing some Emax AP Jarvan support. I wonder if this is going to be that sort of style or if it is going to be more of a tank or a damage dealing Jarvan. But yeah, people were going Airy, Jarvan, Emax flag, poke, give your team you know, that attack speed buff as well. And if you do go for that sort of a style, you have Sona, which is kind of an aura bot on top of the attack speed aura from that. That is something that would make Pobelter very, very scary in the later stages of the game. I don't know how they are going to really match up in the 2v2. It feels like Jarvan will have a very difficult time going forward because if you engage in, Tahm Kench is so powerful, you know, at actually turning that around on you. If they can poke out the Varus, you know, with this Emax Jarvan perhaps, and you know, and Sona Qmax and look for that sort of a style, that could work.
And keep in mind, Jarvan's pretty much going to be getting a Relic Shield early game anyway, right? He's going to be the farming champion for the beginning of the game, still needs a Sight Stone. It's going to be almost certainly Relic Shield as a result, so won't have the mana pool necessarily for the E-spam, but am curious to see what this does look like. Of course, you'd kind of expect all-ins coming out of a Jarvan, right? You EQ in, you have the jungler follow up on the right side.
I think there's no chance.
Exactly, not in a Tahm Kench. That doesn't seem likely either, so it does feel a bit rough for the FlyQuest side on the red team, but we'll see what it looks like in the long term.
I mean, it's Spellbook for both supports and Exhaust Art for both supports, so even less chance of an all-in, you know, given these summoners and given their rune choices there. I think neither side really should have the damage to actually, you know, be able to threaten an all-in 2v2 kill unless they poke someone down very heavily before that.
All right.
This should be very interesting. Really creative draft.
Well, we do have a sideline report. Let's take it away.
Thanks, guys. Invert, Sona J4 bot lane. How is that going to work for you guys today?
Yeah, so one of the things that counters a Sona lane, as you've seen, is teams tend to take the Tahm Kench away and then try to have strong dive presence. The J4 prevents the dives compared to the Pike, which is what people normally try to pick. So we prevent the dives with the Jarvan, and then we make sure that the Sona gets to scale, while on the other side of the map we're able to make plays as well. And the Jarvan's a flex. So when we're able to do that, they think they're picking into Jarvan jungle, but they're not, so we get a jungle counter pick as well.
And did you expect FBI and Huhi to be making a return to the bot lane, and did that influence your draft today?
Yeah, we had an inkling, especially because Definitely and Ole were playing the Academy games. Therefore, we kind of had an understanding of what FBI and Huhi want to play, especially because they're a newer bot lane. They've only shown like a certain amount of picks, so we were prepared for that.
Well, thank you, and best of luck to you and the team. Back to you guys.
Very interesting. So, you know, utilizing this Jarvan to help prevent the dives, I think that does make sense, you know, along that line to take the exhaust. And I do think, to be fair, it can be difficult. You know, the Flag and Dragon knockup is actually a pretty powerful deterrent. If you mess up your dive at all and you are getting CC'd up there, Jarvan certainly can help to delay. But I definitely don't see it as nearly of a defensive option as something along the lines of the Tahm Kench. So we'll have to see how this does play out. It is the E start, though, for Wajid. So he will be the farmer, and we'll see how he's going to be able to play this one out in the early levels.
Well, he last hit 1 minute with it so far, as he knows that the scariness of a melee Tahm Kench is quite high. There's so much damage to that champion early game. And so he's going to play a bit more defensively and last hit what he can. You always expect to see a farm deficit in any Sona lane, and Wadid is going to do his very best to try to get some of that.
It's also going to be fun to actually track this jungle matchup because, like he was saying, as Viper early level 2 here,
and he's going to walk backwards, but a nice E forward gets the still sweet spot, so nice job by Hanser. And with ranking E, of course, has the lifesteal as well.
Yeah, but quickly back to that jungle matchup. So Contract's, you know, going with this high priority Silas jungle, you know, thinking it is into Jarvan, but instead it is flex around. Santorin gets to take Hail of Blades. Rek'Sai, a very powerful early duelist on this champion, so, you know, should have the early game advantage definitely in that 1v1, and we'll see if he's going to be able to utilize that to get any sort of scuttle control or anything along those lines. But for now, you can see both bot and mid are pushing in for Golden Guardians, which is going to give Contracts priority despite the matchup.
And well, both junglers know where each other are. As the Scar's Bloom was popped, it shows Santorin walking top side, clearing his 4th camp right there, and with the Bloom getting hit, knows Contracts is down there by his own Gromp, and It looks like they'll be trading Scuttle Crabs, though, with Contracts taking the south one. Santorin heading northwest and grabbing this one. That means he can be available to make the Aatrox Riven matchup even more volatile. Viper on yet another Riven game and expecting to blast that matchup open.
Yeah, and this could potentially be a 3-buff here. You know, the blue buff hasn't actually been taken by Contracts. You know, if the map does get split, but Santorin not even going to actually check it.
He knows it's available because he got a ward on it.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised by that. You know, perhaps just not feeling super confident, you know, to be able to make that invade since his mid laner is still being pushed in, but he did have the pushing top, so I feel like it's something he could have considered. And it seems like they actually might be going for an early blue donate. At the very least, Froggen was coming over here to help cover, but I do think this will be the first blue actually going straight over to Froggen. No, okay.
He's just leashing at time.
Yeah, so they're just actually really nervous, I think, about a potential invade. They were expecting the Rek'Sai to be there, so Froggen is around, you know, just in case that it did become a battle at that blue buff.
End of the day, it is going to be normal buffs across the board, but again, to your point, I think you're right. Santorin did have the space to probably steal that blue away. Took the chickens instead and is back on the map, and you know he'll be fine for the rest of this time. But yeah, that's kind of interesting to kind of ask what if that went a little bit differently around. Nice Q by Hanser, lands the second one as well, really doing nicely. Gets a lot of damage down, and now Contracts lurking right behind that lane.
Yeah, and so they had spotted Contracts. I do believe there was question mark pings, you know, over on that ward, so they did know he's in the area. Santorin had just been hanging out, waiting for a potential gank opportunity, but now knowing that Silas is here, Hanser should be able to very easily push this out, and this will mean Viper has to expend the teleport. Hanser should just be able to simply walk back to base and actually hold on to his TP, so he does end up getting that additional advantage, goes home with more farm, and also can just walk this right back to lane, hold on to that TP if he does so desire.
I want to see Viper make that a freeze. Thing is, as you're mentioning, Hanser is indeed walking back to lane, but Viper AoE'd the entire wave down and is doing it yet again. And I think could have forced the TP if he instead made that a freeze and you know, made Hanser lose an entire wave there.
The danger with a strategy like that, because the wave has stacked so high, is if you just use your TP and you take too much damage, then you can start to lose control of the lane simply because of kind of the health deficit there. So instead, he will push that out. He will utilize that time to get another D-ward, such as the one that it actually cracked Contracts a little bit earlier, placing a pink there over by that blue buff. So, you know, just trying to keep himself safe. 2 wards here should keep him safe from anything besides a potential lane gank, but that's going to be very hard to pull off with Aatrox and Silas.
Grease now damage to the bottom side. Nice piercing arrow, puts Wild Turtle very low, who does still have his TP, so he can get back to lane. He's already made the first recall for the Frostfang itself, but Tyr is almost ready to be bought. Needs to get another 100 to 200 gold, and then he can make that a reasonable recall. Doesn't want to do that until then, though.
Yeah, and FBI, you know, was also low on mana, and he's going to be going back to base here too. So bot lane going fairly even. So, you know, if the goal is to just kind of protect this Sona, allow it to scale up, I would say mission accomplished thus far. You know, you have farm fairly equivalent on both sides. You know, you generally do expect the Sona lanes to be pretty far down, and they will be able to get a reasonable buy off, go back to base. FBI is going to utilize that teleport to try to, at the very least, force out the teleport from his opponents. But this wave will be pushing towards him. It was just going to stack, so they may be keeping Contracts down here and trying to put FlyQuest in kind of this awkward position where they need to reset the wave, they need to push out, and doing that would expose themselves.
The FlyQuest lane is going to push kind of no matter what as the recalls come through. Yeah, Catalyst. So the sort of build
is like Taric. Yeah.
Exactly. You just get the early Abyssal Mask, and well, you're against Vel'Koz and Silas, and there's a little bit of magic from Varus, so I guess it fits that build reasonably well. Is Q max on this Jarvan, by the way, so not the flag attack speed, but simply a lower cooldown on the Q and more armor pen.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting build. You know, Abyssal does give you a little bit of CDR as well. You know, when you do actually go up to your completed Sightstone, you're going to get some CDR there also. So, you know, having a little bit of that in the mix, and hopefully will get tanky enough that he can actually act as that primary engage.
Yeah, and when he does engage, of course, has the magic damage amping aura for 2 of his primary carries, the Sona, obviously magic damage, and the Corki, who is almost entirely magic damage. So it does become more of an offensive threat in that regard as well, and makes sense for Abyssal Mask in this team composition.
Yeah, pretty cool stuff. And, you know, up on the top side, really across the map, it is fairly slow paced as far as the lanes are not playing super aggressive. Golden Guardians is going to make this move now.
Power spike, and we'll see where he goes from.
Better in these team fights, and Viper with that turnaround. Worried about potential Daku. He will go.
Definitely. Plate drops the top lane, solo gold for FBI, and that team hatching wards down here, a pair of them actually, as they both walk by at all. And no real shenanigans to be had here as Contracts, simply waiting for most of his jungle to respawn. plates now finally fall. 3 plates to probably a couple across the rest of the map.
Yeah, next point of action may just be this Mountain Dragon that is about to spawn. You can see Viper is in that area. Bot lane is being pushed out right now by Hanser, so it's just kind of this push and pull across the map. Santorin has just been following around, trying to answer contracts. But I do think if your contracts, in this game and you're just dead even at this point against the Rek'Sai, you're going to be feeling really good. I do think that Sylas has really, really strong scaling options. As you do get those additional levels, getting the Lure Equivalent on your ultimate can be very powerful for the team fight, but the Dragon has been started out. They're TPing in, so they want to fight this now.
It's going to be a 5-on-5. Both around the wings does have the package as well. Going to be a big deal. Knockup's not quite going to land. There comes package across the squad. They got the front line locked up, and there comes Riven across the top. Hui low on health, and in goes the Vel'Koz damage. 1 for 0 to FlyQuest, making a second already. And now a stopwatch used keeps the jungler alive. A third kill now coming across. FlyQuest just completely slaughter that fight.
Damn, Pobelter with the package was so critical. He actually used that to knock FBI further into the team, splitting him up, and it meant that despite the fact that he gets devoured up by Hui and uses his flash, he could never create enough distance to actually separate himself from the rest of the FlyQuest team. So it was a great engage from Pobelter. We'll watch this one more time on the bottom side of your screen. Follow Pobelter here on the Corki, and right here, knocking FBI straight into the knockup. Despite the fact that Hui had great positioning, there's just not enough distance to actually be covered. A good Vel'Koz ult is coming across, but it's too little too late. The healing and shielding coming out of the Sona, more than enough to equal that. And just a really clean fight there from FlyQuest, grabbing themselves that Mountain Dragon. Will make any potential Baron attempts that much more potent, and anytime you do have a Sona on your team as well, it's relatively low risk because of all the healing and shielding that can be utilized to actually just tank that up.
Yeah, I just checked. I went and looked at inventories back before that fight started. Pretty much everyone who needed a recall had done it. So that was full power on both sides, and FlyQuest simply out-executed. Both squads were ready, and it was better on the red team. So now, a nice 1,500 gold lead. One of those Drakes finally answered. Mountain Drake good for sieging, of course. And we crest now into a pretty solid mid-game with the Archangel staff now already done for Wild Turtle, and Item Spikes coming across the board.
And I do think one of the really big things, these last couple games that FlyQuest has been winning, is Pobelter has really been stepping up. I think he had a much more rough start of the split, but he has had a couple really strong games in a row, and a great start here again on the Corki. A really nice fight from him, showing just how powerful the package can be. Utilizing that to really kind of split up the team is not something you get to see too often because a lot of those packages can kind of turn into in packages, but he saw the opportunity, he saw that his team was there to back him up, and capitalizing on it wins the fight.
Beautiful right there. Now Viper gonna spot Contract, say, get away from my crab. Has a seafood diet, out he goes. Sorry Contract, not gonna be yours this time around. And FlyQuest now the team in the lead here. They're the one who gets to command sort of the pace around the game. Contract grabs a second crescendo, and see if you can find anything more useful with that one, but Golden Guardians have yet to be on the board kill-wise. Gold close because of turret kills on the top side, eventually knocked down by their team.
Yeah, and Viper going to be pretty happy on the back of that fight. Did get a lot out of it, picking up a couple of those kills, has completed his Black Cleaver, has another Caulfield on top of that. So, going to be sitting on about 35% CDR, assuming he did take 5% from Inspiration. So, looking pretty good in that regard. And they are threatening a dive here. Pobelter is over on the side.
Contracts walks in, finds a really big stun on it with D. Does a flag and drag away. Does stay alive, though, and there's really not any follow-up.
Surprised to see Froggen didn't just drop the ult. I do think that you could have perhaps threatened with Deed, but maybe thinking that it's too tanky of a target to kind of make it worth dropping the ultimate there. But either way, we'll be able to push them back with that great stolen Sona ultimate. And Pobelter now on the side. They are threatening the engage.
Okay, next attempt, this time no South ultimate available. Finds a knock on FBI. They got to find some teammates. So they're going to go for the dunk towards the backside. But he has to pull his hourglass now, but he's now isolated. Flags away. Flash and single automatic will kill him. The re-engage, though. Froggen does pick up one kill as they trade back and forth. Pobelter also gone.
Yeah, great turnaround there, and holding onto that Vel'Koz ultimate certainly paying off now, but here comes Viper on the Riven. He was spotted by the ward. Does have flash and ulti, but with the information that he is there, they should not be getting caught out by this potential engage, and as soon as he walks away, they will go to push up once more, trying to threaten this, and Viper has got to actually answer this bottom wave that Hanser has been pushing.
It would have been a numbers lead for FlyQuest as Viper was there far before Hanser was going to be, but as you mentioned, the wards let him back away without any issue. The wave is pushed in, caught though by Viper, and kind of a ceasefire across that mid lane.
Yeah, here this is one more time. They want to look for the engage on Froggen. They know he does not have his flash available, but a great ultimate from Varus, you know, peeling off a lot of this damage, and then Froggen just creates enough space, turns, drops the laser. Wadid getting very, very low. Pobelter gets knocked down. It is that trade of kills 1 for 1, but taking the mid laner for the support certainly is Golden Guardian's favor.
Heads up play by Huhi, flashed after it for the last tongue lash into Devour and delivered a kill right back over. A bit of money across and some XP down for the mid laner. Viper gonna try to stop this recall. Easy enough to do. Makes him waste 8 seconds.
Yeah, just buying a little bit of time there, trying to keep that up on the bot side, continually shoving this in. You know, it will mean that Haunter instead will just actually not go back to base, despite the fact that he has, you know, completion money, you know, for whichever item he does choose. Very likely Black Cleaver would be coming in here first, and Froggen will be up on that top side looking to answer. And while Vel'Koz is not who you really want to have in a side lane, it is fine, I think, even more so because you have the Tahm Kench, because you have the additional support that always can kind of come in if it does end up being an extended one play.
For sure. Side lane plays, mobility around the map, definitely trademarks. Oh, this is a big one, absolutely up in 5 seconds. And you can see FlyQuest in the river first, but the gold only 1,000 apart. Most players have bought not too hefty of inventories gold-wise. And Seraph's now done, plus most of a Lichbane for Wild Turtle is quite nice. And now hatching those wards. FlyQuest taking the vision over for themselves. Not a lot that Golden Guardians can see. It's the mid lane fight briefly, and you can clear those away. Pretty go. Here comes the dive in the back line over the top, but no one's stuck at the cataclysm anymore. FlyQuest starting to run away, and they'll be able to kite away from the Vel'Koz ultimate, keeping a lot of their tools still alive. Oh my word! Viper sets it up, and now for the second one, Huhi caught for the 2-man crescendo, and that's 2 more kills picked right back up. FlyQuest again for the 3-0 in the river.
Yeah, they're just executing better in these team fights, and Viper with that turnaround. Contract's getting poked low enough. Felt like he would be safe with the stopwatch and flash available, but Viper never gives him a chance, and they say, forget the dragon. We want the Baron here. Haunter does have teleport available, so they could try to see if they can stop this. He will be TPing in, but FlyQuest in a great position right now.
Yeah. No Volt Vel'Koz, they have some damage, but they should never get to steal this. They should never get the steal, and it does get picked up there by Santorin. Now a lot of damage to Wadid. He's got to be careful. He's going to get found out. He'll drop a single kill as recompense for Golden Guardians, but FlyQuest so much farther ahead.
Yeah, they're going to be feeling really good about this. Golden Guardians now running out on the map, trying to at least grab this Infernal for themselves. It looks like, especially on the back of that kill and utilizing Tahm Kench ultimate, it should be their Dragon. But hear this is one more time. So watch the health on Contracts. Contracts getting lower and lower, and then just waiting for the cooldowns. The Q alt flash straight in onto Contracts, and he just gets erased. Viper showing off those ribbon mechanics. Really insane turnaround there, and FlyQuest, really this entire lead is just off of 2 really well executed dragon fights.
Absolutely beautiful right there, and it's 4,000 gold now with FlyQuest ahead, plus a Baron buff on most of their members to get even more of this map to go their way. Taking some damage, but really with a Death's Dance, you heal all of it constantly, and it's not going to mean anything to Viper here.
Yeah, you can see Contracts looking over at his build. Kindle Gem, as well as the Fiendish Codex, plus the CDR from his jungle item. He is just trying to rush towards as much CDR as he can get. And now being level 11, the ultimate on the cooldown is going to get that much shorter. You know, it is the 32-second cooldown. It's very hard to get to 16 in a competitive game as a jungler, so that is one of the major differences, you know, compared to when we saw it in competitive play so much in the past. Junglers just don't get as much experience as solo laners. So, you know, it's unlikely he will ever actually hit that 16 mark unless the game goes really, really late. And that is why I think he's feeling it's so important to get the additional CDR. It's so important to kind of get it down to a more manageable cooldown.
I get a second ult in the team fight. It'd be really nice right here. Mid lane out are going to fall. FlyQuest, their second hero of the game. Finally on the board and leading in that metric, but with a 5,000 gold lead and the Baron buff still on for a minute and a half, they're likely to get more. Viper feels comfortable in the bottom lane, has a full level lead over Haunter, plus the stopwatch that allows him to dive even more cleanly. And that's going to be dropping here as well, making it 3 turrets to 1.
Yeah, and there's just really not a lot of defensive vision for Haunter, so you know, he doesn't have a lot of protection. You know, as soon as you see FlyQuest missing from mid lane, you could very easily have multiple members coming in looking for that dive, and you can see all the aggressive vision here, you know, setting up on the top side. They're now invading on the bot side. You know, if you look across this mini-map, there are wards really in a line all the way down across here. You know, that is a very, very advanced line of scrimmage, which is going to make it so difficult for Golden Guardians to respond to FlyQuest. They can just bounce back and forth to these lanes, but they are looking now for the collapse onto Viper, but he has the vision to easily react.
Good warding down by the rest of the FlyQuest squad. We wait to see what else they're going to do. As Corki's sent to the top lane, Pobelter's going to start that one up. He's got a reinforced wave coming up there, so that can quickly be a tier 2 turret siege.
And again, multiple wards in that side of the jungle too, so it is going to be hard to really catch him off guard. They do have to be a little bit worried about any potential Tahm Kench ultimate flanks, but that being said, if you go for that sort of play and all 3 lanes are pushed in with the Baron buff, there is a high cost associated with that play if it fails. You're going to be losing multiple turrets, very likely.
Again, mid lane tier 2. Corki this time still stuck in the top side, going to push that wave in, maybe keep Froggen at bay, but it's going to be the minion waves knocked down back and forth. Instead, FlyQuest running down to the bottom side. They've got a red buff to steal. Viper grabs that one, no issues. But a ward by Golden Guardian sees that they're up to that, and no more Structure's going to lose too much health right now. It's simply FlyQuest still playing Vision until Viper with Santor going to knock down the bottom side of that. Will be another turret picked up as Haunter cannot defend it by himself. FlyQuest get the gold lead now even larger with their 4th turret kill.
Yeah, going to be able to pull off a pretty nice Baron power play there. Now 6,000 plus gold ahead. A lot of the critical items are coming through. Corki, I really think, becomes an absolute monster at 3 items, and Pobelter is actually, very close to that. Already has the 2 major items and the Zeal, so just needs about 1,000 more gold for that rapid fire. And when you get that crit auto with your rapid fire and cheat proc, you can just absolutely delete people. That is when it becomes so incredibly threatening. Rank 3 on the ultimate as well. Another critical mark there, and GA now completed for Viper, so he is ready to go.
They're trying to play right now, from the backline, they delete Wild Turtle over the top. Now comes the Vel'Koz damage. Wadid stuck by himself, flashing away, might just stay alive. He's burning a little bit. Now Viper stuck alone, but does he have the damage? He's trying to fight FBI, gets a bit, pops his stopwatch, burns him down, and he'll stay alive. This is so much damage going to FlyQuest on the re-engaged Santorin. Gets another one as well. 2 kills picked up for the FlyQuest side, chasing him with the rest of the members, 4 versus 3. And what a fight turnaround with Wild Turtle getting deleted at the start.
I mean, that was a great engage from Golden Guardians, but FlyQuest really showing off that goal lead, the power of the additional items there, the GA coming through huge for Viper. And Pobelter, despite actually, TPing in late and almost instantly dying, this was a great engage from Contracts. Stolen Sona ult, layered over with his chains, then followed Pobelter on this TP. The perfectly timed knock up there from Vel'Koz. He almost dies immediately, is pushed out. Wadid is pushed out, but this level 16 Viper with the GA gets the flash and the kill with that red buff on FBI, and then coming back up with that GA, just shields right back out as Santorin is able to knock down Contracts, and they're just so much stronger with those additional item completions that they are now looking for this potential dragon.
No, they find a slow out of Wadid. They might actually go for a little bit more, as now they've got the package coming across. Nice yet again. Hui with a good flash, but now at the top side, Boat's going to be a little bit careful. Takes a lot of damage, pops the stopwatch, and now it's Wild Turtle finding a kill on a Contract. Wadid building some space. Team still alive, 5v4, the flash on over. There's the jump, unstoppable now is Viper. Vel'Koz damage cut short, and so are the lifelines of Golden Guardians and Ace. FlyQuest walking all over their opponents.
And that could be it, Freak. They are right at the base. 27 minutes in, they have the minion wave. They want to end.
Looks like it's going to be 3 wins in a row for FlyQuest. They're a very rough start, but win after win after win. And their closest competition, Golden Guardians, currently sitting in a playoff spot, will knock them a game down. Will make that just a little bit closer. And FlyQuest going to walk their way into a 4-7 record to end Saturday.
And some very dominant team fighting here from FlyQuest to take this win over Golden Guardians. A slow start to the game, but some great team fighting around. Those dragons especially really was able to get FlyQuest the edge, and that Baron felt like it kind of sealed the deal. Some pretty impressive package engages from Pobelter. Those actually worked out really, really well. But a really interesting draft here from FlyQuest. Definitely deserving of some credit for that also. Multiple things being flexed around. The Jarvan looking like it was going to be flexed top when the Rek'Sai came in. Then, going to be flexed down to the bottom lane. So very tricky draft. Hard for Golden Guardians to really know what is going on in that regard. And it does seem to have worked out very, very well. Sona got through lane relatively unimpeded. They had fairly strong engage with this Jarvan, who was able to pick up enough farm to be relatively tanky in the team fight. Yeah. Then their solo laners went off.
Yeah, I mean, Jarvan ended with 129 CS and 2.5 completed items, right? Got the full Abyssal Mask in, was going towards the next piece with the Glacial Shroud there. So, yeah, the whole thing worked out. I'm pleasantly surprised Vidit only died once the entire game when he's jumping into the entire team of Flash away and hoping it's not enough damage to kill him, and it was right every single time. Like, but it was impressive that you saw fights where Wild Turtle gets deleted, and they fight the 4v5, and it works out. They get 2 more afterwards. So impressive game overall. FlyQuest, again, 3 in a row in the win column is really solid. We're going to send it down to Ovly now, who's standing by with a winner's interview.
Thanks, guys. Turtle, congratulations on the win. I gotta be honest, watching the draft, I'm like, okay, cool, Viper's on Riven. They're gonna break out some comfort picks. And then there's the Sona J4 bot lane. So tell me, was that a risk for you? Was this practice? Were you confident?
I think during the 2-week break, during Rift Rivals, we kind of just practiced a lot more picks, and I think Jarvan was one of them. So it was really happy that we were able to play it on stage and actually do well with it. So.
Yeah, we heard a lot from Coach Invert, but for you specifically, what did you think of that matchup?
The Varus Tom matchup, I think it felt fine. I actually don't know how that matchup's supposed to play out, so we just kind of winged it and tried our best.
I mean, it worked. Something that I want to ask you more specifically was playing with Wadid. I know we get to see him as a player, but I want to know the personality, because I know
all ready, and it was better on the red team. So
Scrimmage, which is going to make it so difficult.
it's the mid lane fight briefly, and you can clear those away.
Pretty go.
Here comes the dive in the back line over the top, but no one's stuck in the cataclysm anymore. Flago's starting to run away, and they'll be able to kite away from the Vel'Koz ult. They keep a lot of their tools still alive. Oh my word! Viper sets it up, and now for the second one. He caught with a 2-man crescendo, and that's 2 more kills picked right back up. FlyQuest again.
So looking pretty good up there and holding.
Pick up 1 kill as they trade back. Flags away. Flash and single auto tackle. But he has to pull his hourglass now, but he's now isolated. Flags away. Flash and single auto tackle kill him. They're re-engaged though. Froggen does pick up 1 kill as they trade back and forth. Welter also pushed in.
More big Welter. Cleaver would
In the river first, but the gold only 1,000 apart. Most players have bought not too hefty of inventories gold-wise. Seraph's now done, plus most of a Lichbane for Wild Turtle is quite nice. Now hatching those wards. FlyQuest taking the vision over for themselves. Not a lot that Golden Guardians can see. It's the mid lane fight briefly, and you can clear those away.
Pretty go.
Here comes the dive in the back line over the top, but no one's stuck in the cataclysm anymore. Flago's starting to run away, and they'll be able to kite away from the Vel'Koz ult, but keep a lot of their tools still alive. Oh my word! Viper sets it up, and now for the second one. He caught with a 2-man crescendo, and that's 2 more kills picked right back up. FlyQuest again for the 3-0 in the river.
Yeah, they're just executing better.
Some teammates, they're gonna go for the dunker at the backside, but he has to pull.
He was.
Turtles. Here comes the dive in the back line over the top, but no one's stuck in the cataclysm anymore. Flago's starting to run away, and they'll be able to kite away from the Vel'Koz ult, but keep a lot of their tools still alive. Oh my word! Viper sets it up, and now for the second one. He caught with a 2-man crescendo, and that's 2 more kills.
Precision and grace.
Picked right back up. FlyQuest again for the 3-0 in the river.
Yeah, they're just executing better in these team fights, and Viper with that turnaround. Contract's getting poked low enough. Felt like he would be safe with the stopwatch and flash available, but Viper never gives him a chance, and they say, forget the dragon. We want the Baron here. Monster does have teleport available, so they could try to see if they can stop this. He will be TPing in, but FlyQuest in a great position right now.
Yeah. No ult Vel'Koz, they have some damage, but they should never get to steal this. They should never get the steal, and it does get picked up there by Santorin. Now a lot of damage to Wadid. He's got to be careful. He's going to get found out. He'll drop a single kill as recompense for Golden Guardians, but FlyQuest so much farther ahead.
Yeah, they're going to be feeling really good about this. Golden Guardians now running out on the map, trying to at least grab this Infernal for themselves. It looks like, especially on the back of that kill and utilizing Tahm Kench ultimate, it should be their Dragon. But hear this is one more time. So watch the health on Contracts. Contracts getting lower and lower, and then just waiting for the cooldowns. The Q alt flash straight in onto Contracts, and he just gets erased. Viper showing off those Riven mechanics. Really insane turnaround there, and FlyQuest, really this entire lead is just off of 2 really well executed Dragon fights.
Absolutely beautiful right there, and it's 4,000 gold now with FlyQuest ahead, plus a Baron buff on most of their members to make it even more of this map to go their way. Taking some damage, but really with a Death Dance, you heal all of it constantly, and it's not going to mean anything to Viper here.
Yeah, you can see Contracts looking over at his build, Kindle Gem, as well as the Fiendish Codex, plus the CDR from his jungle item. He is just trying to rush towards as much CDR as he can get. And now being level 11, the ultimate on the cooldown is going to get that much shorter. It is the 32-second cooldown. It's very hard to get to 16 in a competitive game as a jungler, so that is one of the major differences, compared to when we saw it in competitive play so much in the past. Junglers just don't get as much experience as solo laners. So, it's unlikely he will ever actually hit that 16 mark unless the game goes really, really late. And that is why I think he's feeling it's so important to get the additional CDR. It's so important to kind of get it down to a more manageable cooldown.
I get a second ult in the teamfight. It'd be really nice right here. Mid lane out are going to fall. FlyQuest, their second turret of the game. Finally on the board and leading in that metric, but with a 5,000 gold lead and the Baron buff still on for a minute and a half, they're likely to get more. Viper feels comfortable in the bottom lane, has a full level lead over Hanser, plus the stopwatch that allows him to dive even more cleanly. And that's going to be dropping here as well, making it 3 turrets to 1.
Yeah, and there's just really not a lot of defensive vision for Hanser, so he doesn't have a lot of protection. As soon as you see FlyQuest missing from mid lane, you could very easily have multiple members coming in looking for that dive, and you can see all the aggressive vision here, setting up on the top side. They're now invading on the bot side. If you look across this mini-map, there are wards really in a line all the way down across here. That is a very, very advanced line of scrimmage, which is going to make it so difficult for Golden.
He's got
wards. You go with and that
now flashing away.
GA now completed for Viper, so he is ready to go.
They're trying to play right now, from the backline, they delete Wild Turtle over the top. Now comes the Vel'Koz damage. Wadid stuck by himself, flashing away, might just stay alive. He's burning a little bit. Now Viper stuck alone, but does he have the damage? He's trying to find FBI, gets a bit, pops his stopwatch, burns him down, and he'll stay alive. This is so much damage going to FlyQuest on the re-engaged Santorin. Gets another. Another one as well. 2 kills picked up for the FlyQuest side. Chasing him with the rest of the members, 4 versus 3. And what a fight turnaround with Wild Turtle getting deleted at the start.
I mean, that was a great engage from Golden Guardians, but FlyQuest really showing off that gold lead, the power of the additional items there. The GA coming through huge for Viper. And Pobelter, despite actually, TPing in late and almost instantly dying, this was a great engage from Contracts. Stolen Sona ult, layered over with his chains, then followed Pobelter on this TP. The perfectly timed knock up there from Vel'Koz. He almost dies immediately, is pushed out. Wadid is pushed out, but this level 16 Viper with the GA gets the flash and the kill with that red buff on FBI, and then coming back up with that GA, just shields right back out as Santorin is able to knock down Contracts, and they're just so much stronger with those additional item completions that they are now looking for this potential dragon.
No, they find a slow out of Wadid. They might actually go for a little bit more, as now they've got the package coming across. Nice swing him yet again. Hui with a good flash, but now on the top side, Boat's going to be a little bit careful. Takes a lot of damage, pops the stopwatch, and now it's Wild Turtle finding a kill on the Contract. Wadid building some space. Team still alive, 5v4, the flash on over. There's the jump, unstoppable now is Viper. Vel'Koz damage cut short, and so are the lifelines of Golden Guardians and Ace. FlyQuest walking all over their opponents.
And that could be it, Freak. They are right at the base. 27 minutes in, they have the minion wave. They want to end.
Looks like it's going to be 3 wins in a row for FlyQuest. They're a very rough start, but win after win after win. And their closest competition, Golden Guardians, currently sitting in a playoff spot, will knock them a game down. Will make that just a little bit closer. And FlyQuest going to walk their way into a 4-7 record to end Saturday.
And some very dominant team fighting here from FlyQuest to take this win over Golden Guardians. A slow start to the game, but some great team fighting around those dragons especially. Really was able to get FlyQuest the edge. Impressive fact, then what got enough.
Again, was Wayne Hope. Impressive game overall with a winner's interview.
Thanks, guys. Turtle, congratulations on the win. I gotta be honest, watching the draft, I'm like, okay, cool, Viper's on Riven, they're gonna break out some comfort picks, and then there's the Sona J4 bot lane. So tell me, was that a risk for you? Was this practice? Were you confident?
I think during the 2-week break, during Rift Rivals, we kind of just practiced a lot more picks, and I think Jarvan was one of them. So it was really happy that we were able to play it on stage and actually do well with it. So.
Yeah, we heard a lot from Coach Invert, but for you specifically, what did you think of that matchup?
The Varus Tom matchup, I think it felt fine. I actually don't know how that matchup's supposed to play out, so we just kind of winged it and tried our best.
I mean, it worked. Something that I want to ask you more specifically was playing with Wadid. I know we get to see him as a player, but I want to know the personality, because I know that both of you guys are fun and have loud personalities. So what is it like in the house or even on the stage?
Wadid's very loud, and he's always, he can get very emotional and get really mad during solo queue. So yeah, some desk banging and stuff like that, but it's all good. It's all fun.
And I saw him, was he the one who led the team huddle at the very end?
Yeah, he was actually the one who's like, 3, 2, 1, FlyQuest, guys. And they were like, yeah.
That's really sweet to hear. Well, this is your guys' 3rd win in a row. You're on that win streak, but one of the hardest things about a win streak is maintaining it. And tomorrow you have Team Liquid, so what are your plans for that?
Just play what we're good at, and I think just try to win. That's it.
Trying to win. Any words for Double Lift going into that game?
Better bot wins.
Better bot wins. Turtle, thank you, and congratulations again. And let's hear from that State Farm analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Avali. In the conversation of the playoff picture, Golden Guardians was sitting in 6th. FlyQuest was one of the teams we called out as a dark horse to challenge them for that 6th and final spot. Big win here in the head-to-head for them in terms of building their way up into the standings. FlyQuest, how do we feel about the improvements they continue to make with Wadid in the roster?
I gotta say, I think it's pretty good. I mean, they're trying new, interesting stuff. The J4 support we haven't really seen. And then he didn't even do it the way a lot of people were talking about it a couple months ago, where it has the Airy and tries to abuse the E-shielding. So I like that they're trying new things out while still being like, yeah, Viper plays Riven.
Really well.
Yeah.
I think from my end, it's like, I'm here to see how consistent Belter is. He's even gone off on social media being like, he's been upset that it's a rather down season for him. The last game, he looked good. And right now, I'm just wondering if he's playing, I think, average, a little bit above average, consistently average. And the games are taking so long because it feels like we're just waiting and waiting and waiting for something to happen. And then maybe he pops off like this game with 2 different packages.
Right.
But until that point, I'm hoping we get to see a more confident Buster that can do crazier things in the future. But I guess any FlyQuest fan should be happy to see him playing above average, because for a large part of the split, I don't think that's been the case.
Well, he at least has a very solid champion pool always. He's always been, at the worst case scenario, he's gonna have commanding authority during the draft, during the actual game itself, playing Corki all the time. Perfectly fine, you can get away with that, and as long as you have wave clear in the mid lane, it allows the side lanes to be creative and have the Viper Riven or the Sona Jarvan, which I don't know if we're gonna see more of.
Well, and I think to your point, Scara, FlyQuest is aided in having a player like Viper who can make some of those mechanical plays that maybe we're not getting from Belter at this point in the season.
Yeah, so right now I feel like they're maybe lacking a little bit of initiators, and Viper right here is never afraid to go in, especially on his signature champion.
Well, you go in because Golden Guardians is split up. This is classic Golden Guardians right now. Their struggles are you've got multiple members on different pages. 3 people isolated trying to fend off FlyQuest, 2 on the Dragon Pit. It's just not going to work out, and then here an engage happens, but it's not as ready to pull the trigger as the rest of FlyQuest. That is just pulling back, saying, all right, we know what we have, what we're capable of doing in this fight, and it is flashy.
I mean, that's the kind of Riven special, is no one knows how much damage he has but the Riven player, so you're chasing, and suddenly you're all dead. And I mean, he is...
What a shot.
He's mad. I'm just really impressed with him as well as the whole team. I think the point about Belter kind of being the rock in the mid lane is great, because that's always what he's kind of been, is the steady player on the team, so you can try things like the J4 and the Riven pick.
Right, by all accounts, what we're seeing from FlyQuest in the most recent weeks is good and tends to align with the idea that this is a team that still has a pathway to the playoffs, even though 2-7, the record they were sitting at, has never made playoffs before.
3-game win streak, right?
It's huge.
That's not bad at all. They started at 1-7 last week, so they are definitely making their way up, and they've already surpassed 100 Thieves, who play next.
And they've beaten playoff teams doing it. You've beaten Golden Guardians, you've beaten Optic. You might struggle versus Team Liquid, TSM, and C9 and CLG a little bit, but I think there's enough opponents left in the split that if they just beat those other 5 teams, they can actually make playoffs. So they're off to a good start for that.
I feel bad because like my 100% prediction rate for the day has gone down the drain because I picked Golden Guardians. I thought potentially, I don't know what to expect from the new bot lane. They showed 2 games, one which they got crushed, one which they did the crushing. And then today we saw a fairly average.
Invisible.
Yeah, very average game. Maybe not even their fault because I would say on that team, the initiators have to be Varus and the Silas to some extent. And I don't think the Contracts had a very good game.
Well, yeah. Golden Guardians seem to be waffling a little bit here at the midway point in the split while FlyQuest is on that upswing. We're stepping away, though. When we return, it's Echo Fox versus Cloud9, so don't go anywhere.
There comes Package across the squad. They got the front line locked up, and there comes Riven across the top. Hui low on health, and in goes the Vel'Koz damage. 1 for 0 to FlyQuest, making a second already. Oh my word! Viper sets it up, and now for the second one, Hui caught for the 2-man crescendo, and that's 2 more kills picked right back up.
I'm going in. Okay. I'm looking. Hold on. Yeah, we win this super hard. Good job. Push it.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for joining us. It's time for Game 4, which pits Echo Fox against Cloud9. We're going to jump into the players loading onto the Rift. Selecting the blue side is Echo Fox, and here is their lineup. Solo in the top lane, Mike Young in the jungle, Phoenix in mid, Apollo in bot lane, Hakuo at support with coaches Song and Tyler.
Challenging them on the red side today, it's going to be Cloud9. In the top lane, Kumo. In the jungle, Blabber. Mid laner Niski, bot and support Siki and Zazel with coaches Reaper and Rapidstar.
So despite fielding a substitute top laner last week, Cloud9 still seemed as dominant as ever. Kumo was great, and today they're bringing up even more change. They're bringing Kumo's academy teammate Blabber back into the starting lineup, so more changes here for C9.
Yeah, Kumo looked great last week on the Jace. Excited to see if he's going to be able to maintain that level of performance here, and if he gets targeted on that Jace. And Blabber, much more of a known quantity, I would say, in the LCS. Certainly has a really big reputation for his aggressive play, and I'm excited to see what he's going to bring out.
Well, they're up against Echo Fox, who maybe need to be aggressive themselves, but they sit in last place, and they are currently experimenting a little bit with team identity.
Yeah, they certainly are. They tried out some Syndra bot. That was kind of mixed levels of success. The landing went fine, but the game, did not end up going their way. But I am wondering a little bit, where this kind of full scaling style that they actually were having a lot of success with in spring has gone to, right? Maybe it's time to kind of experiment with what got them to spring playoffs, utilizing the Jinx and the Vladimir and these types of picks that seemed to pan out pretty well.
Yeah, it definitely did, and I do want to see that come back. I really do think you're on a Chanter-heavy metagame right now where, okay, yeah, they're picking up bans most of the time, but Karma and Yuumi and Lux and all these other champions, it is very easy to buff up someone to carry for you, and I do want to see that come back from Apollo. I think it would be very successful. I think that would be reasonably good here, but we'll wait to see what comes in. Of course, they have a bunch of aggressive players. Mike Yum coming in, another player known for early aggression. Solo in the top lane, I think has still been a solid performer, so you can always play around the top side of the map instead.
Yeah, it's certainly a lot of options. Mike Young, making his debut with the team last weekend. They did go 0-2, so on the hunt for his first win with Echo Fox LCS team. And it is one of those situations where I feel like a lot of their games have been fairly close, but there are, a little bit of kind of, I think, too many mistakes, too many, errors in critical times, and it does feel like oftentimes one or two people will be having a good game, but the rest are not there at the same point, and that's kind of rotating around. So yeah. I think they need to build up a little bit more consistency, and sometimes the players who are not having as good of a game need to allow themselves to just get carried by those who are doing strong and be willing to sit back a little bit more and not feel as though they have to be the one making the play.
Yep, definitely agree. Meanwhile, you've got teams who are doing just the opposite of that, where it feels like it's C9 firing on full cylinders. Of course, CLG took a loss earlier today, so a win here ties with Team Liquid. Just the two of them then would be alone in first place, and with 8 games to play, then it can kind of start to build that buffer again. This was a team that just missed out on making finals last split around, and I know C9 are a top competitor, and at 7-3 right now, I think would like to get a playoff bye and make that finals run and make that world's run as a champion.
Yeah, definitely the case. I mean, getting that playoff bye, is certainly what is on everyone's mind right now, and Cloud9 attempting to keep pace, certainly set back a little bit by the loss of Licorice. Now Kumo has been filling in very, very well. I'm also interested to see if teams are going to start to focus him a little bit more. Niski had an interview after their first win last week where he kind of said something along the lines of, Kumo, yeah, he's really good when he gets kind of his champ that he's comfortable on, or his champs that he's comfortable on. He did play Jace in both games last week. Will that be taken away, or will he be targeted? And see if players and teams can actually exploit him a little bit.
Well, right now, Echo Fox not willing to ban away the Jace, and probably not getting first picked here either, with Yuumi being on the table, and indeed that is right there. So Kumo can easily play his 3rd straight Jace game and blind pick that into solo, but we'll see if there's anything they want more importantly than that.
Yeah, support Lux would be very, very strong. Certainly Zazel, is fairly experienced on the champion, and Cloud9, has been playing a lot of these kind of Enchanter-style bot lanes. A lot of Sona games, certainly in the equation as well.
Yeah, Sneaky's most played for the split so far. All right, well, there's the Lux, kind of expected, so it is going to be a Yuumi Lux bot lane. Still always want to point out Lux can be played mid. We have seen it a couple times across pro play this year, but you tend to expect and kind of plan for it being support. I don't think she has any absurd counter picks where you're like, oh no, Lux went mid, I lose this matchup now. So it's, kind of fine.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the biggest strengths of the champion is it's like, okay, they're going for poke, well, you go Guardian. Okay, they're going for all in, well, you go Aftershock. And people generally feel that there is a build and a rune setup that answers most matchups for the Lux. So, that is certainly something that they're going to have going for them. Yuumi Lucian, a setup that we have seen showcased by teams around the world, but specifically in NA, we have seen TSM running this a couple times to great effectiveness. Can be quite a strong bottom lane. You do have the speed ups for the Lucian to get really aggressive, to be charging forward. The culling can be set up well by the Yuumi ultimate is also, rooting them.
Sure. That's going to be the first time for both Lucian and Yuumi for these players. Frequently, of course, banned the reason you never get any Yuumi games in there. But ooh, Veigar is going to be locked in now as well. Niski coming back on the champion, his second play on it this split. That is exciting.
Yeah, Veigar coming through. He did bring it out last week. And was very successful on it. And there's been a lot of discussion about the mid lane meta, how it's feeling very stale right now. So much Azir, so much Corki. And people have been kind of imploring pros to be like, all right, find the counter, break the meta. Well, this is, second week, second Veigar pick there for Niski. And I do think that this can be a very effective champion in this sort of style. If you're going to handshake on a farm lane, well, Veigar loves that. Scale up with the AP, utilize your passive, farm up. Because if you do get to those later stages, if you do get to multiple items and have a ton of stacks on your passive, you can realistically Q-ult some of these carries and just kill them from full. It gets pretty absurd.
You can do a lot of damage right there. So now with the Jarvan locked in, they're putting in a couple of jungle bans. Echo Fox also aiming some of the top lane range bans here as well for pretty obvious reasons. Kumo's been playing mostly those kinds of champions. C9 will get first pick once these bans are done, and I still want to see if a Jace ban comes through. There's enough magic damage on the squad with Lux support and Veigar mid that Jace isn't a bad pick, and I really want that question answered. If he gets to play the same champ 3 times in a row, Echo Fox want to deal with that.
Yeah, and then the question also is, are people even worried about that? They will have likely scrimmed against Kumo a fair bit and kind of seen, what champions they believe him to be the most threatening on. Aatrox as well as the Cannon are going to be the targets, so not super worried about the Jace thus far, even though he did play it twice last week. Solo has been a very good top laner, and there are answers to the Jace. So perhaps, you are trying to beta pick like that and bring out a counter or bring out a strong answer. Things along the lines of Yorick even have been considered quite good matchups, but has never really panned out in North America specifically when people have played it.
Well, Cloud9 going to wait until the very end to lock in that top lane pick. We know, of course, Jarvan technically can flex, but I doubt that pretty highly. Echo Fox need a jungler. The 2 have been banned away with Sejuani and Silas dropped off the table. Ezreal for Sneaky puts the Lux Ezreal shipping lane down there, and that'll be kind of exciting. They'll be very safe back there and likely won't get poked nearly as hard by that. Yeah, so Gangplank has been one of Solo's better champions up in the top lane. That'll be his 4th. It's already his most played. Now it's game number 4 for this champion, and it doesn't really surprise me much at all.
No, I think he is a really strong Gangplank player, and feels pretty comfortable playing this into most matchups. The question then just becomes, is Kumo willing to play something really aggressive, some sort of counter pick into it to try to really exploit it, or were they just kind of saving his pick for last to protect him a little bit in the draft and make sure that he is not the one being counter picked? Xin, wow, so some Xin Zhao, they're coming out from Mike Young. So this is a much more aggressive look from the jungle. Certainly all about the early game, generally speaking. My question is there enough gank assist, to really kind of warrant this? Where is he going to actually be looking on the map? I would immediately think you're trying to target something like that Veigar, who doesn't have a lot of escapes. But that being said, Corki has no gank assist. You really have no gank assist in any of your lanes whatsoever. So it could just be being utilized to try to bully around the Jarvan, hope that your lanes are able to push in, and then look to kind of get advantages in that way.
Well, mild shock here on the Cloud9 side of things. Would you believe Kumo has picked Jace after all of it? I didn't see it coming. None of you did either, but that's indeed the pick right here. And to your point about Xin Zhao gank assist, I mean, you are looking for aggression with Yuumi and Lucian, although Ezreal and Lux quite safe. But if Jace wants to actually bully Gangplank, you do have to play up. You have to play nearest turret. You have to attack him a lot. So maybe you find your way in the backside there.
Yeah, and you can get advantages, obviously, if you do have pushing lanes just by invading, by attacking Blabber, by protecting your lanes through tracking this opposing jungler. And sometimes you are able to, just through the sheer power of the Xin early game, be able to pull off ganks even without powerful gank assist. Veigar, one of the things that people really talk about as kind of the weak points of this champion is the early game, that he can be picked on before he has a lot of AP, before he has actually a lot of CDR. It's relatively avoidable. All of his abilities are skill shots. He's pretty easy to actually focus. So they may be trying to play around that and keep Niski down here. And if that's the case, we'll see how successful. Going to be feeling very, very good about
are sneaky, and Kumo could just die. The rocket's gonna be dodged, and the root helping to see this team run away. But another now victory for Echo Fox, picking up the kill and a very big Drake.
Yeah, that is actually huge, grabbing the kill and the dragon, and now they're on the field. Not quite wrong. You're a relatively slow-moving champion, so can be on the Knight's Vow this game. You know, it's one of those situations where I think Sun did a lot of time, right? There's only, I think Echo Fox had the stronger. They can actually delay enough because Echo Fox is still fairly low, and the other members from Cloud9 are coming back. So Echo Fox, it's risky to stay around. If you get ace, Cloud9 can still just march down and end the game. So Echo Fox will back off.
Yeah.
But Cloud9 are chasing. They have the speed ups.
The winning play might be to run away and heal. There's only a minute left until the buffs spawn, and either team can get second Elder on this one. That could be a completely game-defining pickup. As Super Minions are slowly walking through the bottom lane, that'll be an eventual answer. This recall should be safe for Fox, but 45 seconds is less time than you want to set up objectives.
Yeah, exactly. Cloud9 are going to be the ones already out on the map, so they will be the ones trying to set up around this. Echo Fox have the added advantage of the supers pushing in the bot lane, though. And they do have some vision in this area. We'll see how quickly Echo Fox can get out here. If these Cloud9 members are going to recall, I don't think they are. They're just TPing straight in. They're hoping for a pick on Echo Fox here. Not the two more
now. Damn, like to lose poke. And Phoenix actually loses the pack to this one. They got to bring Solo back. This could be good for Cloud9 right now. But
the Ocean Dragons are kicking in and they're healing up so much in Yuumi. It's going to be down to the smite again, Freak.
Down to the smite, down to True Shot, Barrage of the estimate across. Look at the damage to the front line. Mike Young going to be found out, losing the Guardian Angel. Now the front line also is Bladder, Stone Plate pop. He will follow the one in for Phoenix. Apollo, look at the kite away, sneaky. Two more autos, finds the kill, but traded back by Niski. Look at the scoreboard though, it is 3 for C9 and 4 alive for Echo Fox.
Echo Fox are pinging towards the Cloud9 base. They're going to try to corral them.
They slow Kumo. They don't find the prowling projectile just yet, but they could find more damage right here as they keep going forward. Corki, he's got such big damage out there. Niski going to be found out by the barrel chain. A single Q might kill him. Exhaust is in, buys a bit of space, but they're going to kill the mid laner. They're going to find the kills. Down goes Zazel. Down goes Kumo, or at least forced back into the base with minions inside there as well. Echo Fox still have 3 alive with just 1 for Cloud9. The TP is there, and I think they might have done it walking right back in. Echo Fox going to go for the Nexus turrets, and Echo Fox has such a rough start to this year. Only 2 wins, but a win over Cloud9 would be just so impressive. Looking to do it right now as Kumo defends against the world. The second inhibitor falls, though. GA about to be popped, and the respawn's just too long. It will be Echo Fox finally picking up a win with the new jungler. Down in kills, doesn't matter. Up in Nexus is Echo Fox win.
And what a game it was. Balanced on a nice edge there for so long. Echo Fox and Cloud9 so evenly matched, but it is Echo Fox coming out on top in that final fight and in the end of the game.
Definitely impressive out of them. Got to give a lot of props over to how they kind of remained tilt-proof. That beginning of the game looked so rough. It was one lane up in farm and nothing else going their way. Solo managed to keep the farm up, remained up in gold. They found Drake after Drake and turned it around in the mid-game, and from about minute 18 onwards, they started getting bigger and bigger leads and finally closed it out in the end.
And I've got to say, Aqua was so critical this game, it felt like, for Echo Fox.
Yeah.
You know, it felt like he just invalidated so much of the poke from Cloud9. You know, they had this Ezreal Jace comp, and Echo Fox have not only double Ocean, but they have this Yuumi constantly healing them up, you know, poking nonstop with the Athenes, bringing even more healing with that, and the Redemption. And, you know, in the late game, it was Yuumi and Corki pairing up and really running these team fights. You could see, you know, Phoenix getting so much poke off, and he had the safety to actually move forward aggressively and go for that poke because the Yuumi is attached to him with the Mikhails, with the Redemption, with heal exhaust. You know, so much safety brought in by this champion, and I think Echo Fox really played to the strengths of their comp very, very intelligently.
Yeah, I gotta say, you had 900 damage big ones by the end of the game without neutral buffs onto him, so those poke rockets were doing very, very well. Big win there, and for more on that upset, Riv is standing by with the Echo Fox bot laner. Take it away.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Great cast on the day. I am joined by Apollo after Echo Fox takes down Cloud9. What an amazing match, back and forth the whole time. It got a little sketchy when couldn't find the engage, but give me your thoughts throughout the match when you were giving those final pushes and you knew you had the win.
Yeah, I mean, the closing out process was kind of slow. I think, especially when you're going against like Veigar. I mean, we know what the champion does, but it just like I guess it's just a little uncomfortable for us. But yeah, I mean, we were kind of had a shaky early game, but we pulled it back, and then it was just a slow process of winning.
So Mike Young slotting into the roster, and it does kind of seem like it's night and day in the team, going in on things, being together, having a bit more fun. How's it feel to have a new member on and kind of refresh things throughout the split here?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's always good to bring like a new face in because they always like bring in like different perspectives. You know, we've been playing with each other for a while now, like the 4 of us, and then when Mike comes in, I think he just kind of brings in like a new, just like a new perspective, like just like different atmosphere, I think. So it was nice that he was brought in, and we're all working really hard. We're in a pretty bad spot in terms of the standings, so we just taking it one game at a time and trying to get revenge on the people that we lost to.
Well, actually, that leads into my next question and final. Looking at the top of the table and now at the bottom, we see FlyQuest, 100 Thieves, and Echo Fox starting to have a bit of a surge here. Why do you think it is that the bottom table teams are starting to make an impact?
I wouldn't call us surging yet, but I mean, yeah, we're hoping to surge, and yeah, I think 100 Thieves and like you said, FlyQuest, they are definitely. They're not like giving up, and I think we're on the same page. Like we don't feel like we're gonna give up. We want to be able to take games, even if it's against the tougher opponents.
Well, a huge win here. Congratulations on that victory. We're gonna throw the State Farm analyst desk to break that one down.
Thank you very much, Riv. What a crazy game there. Huge lead from Cloud9 to kick things off. Follow that up with the comeback from Echo Fox. As Apollo mentioned, maybe not ready to call themselves surging just yet, but it is a nice look for the Echo Fox roster to pick up this win on the back half.
It was a long one, the longest game we've had all summers, too, so.
Wait, is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, that was pretty long. Let's talk about how it got there, though, because, again, from the C9 side, things very much aligned with, the C9 that we know, in particular with Blabber in the lineup. Lots of early aggression.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like they picked up where they left off. You have Kumo as well, popping off. They had some early kills, and then Blabber was all over the map, had 100% kill participation early into the game. And that's what you wanted to see out of your young guys, the fact that they were collaborating and finding kills.
And Blabber does play a lot against Mike Young before his promotion from TLA Academy into Echo Fox.
Right.
He's been playing Academy for a while, and Blabber was 6-1 against Mike Young before this game. So when he comes up with a huge lead, out-jungling Mike Young, I'm thinking, it's over. Par for the course. We've seen this a million times, but then the closing, Cloud9 dropped the ball with this one.
And the main problem was the CS difference. Even though they had a 2-0 jungler and Kumo was up 1-0, he was down 20 CS. You look bot lane, they're down 40 CS, lose first tower, and it's just like C9 struggling to recover from their CS deficit, and they made some mistakes. Mike Young with Hakuo, after the bot lane rotation, ended up picking up a couple kills on the top side, and then slowly started snowballing a different way than I expected.
Right, because as you just saw, that was a very C9-centric, a reel in terms of showing where they got their advantages. But to your point, Scar, right around the 20-minute mark, Echo Fox has a 47 CS lead.
It's not even halfway through the game.
GP had died 4 times, and yet he had that massive lead that you're talking about. And so the gold was largely even at this point, even though the kill score was wildly in C9's favor.
And I think it's because you have too many rookies thrown into your lineup. We're like, yeah, they're great playmakers, and they know how to kill people because they've played a lot of solo queue. But this is like, you got to learn how to extend the lead. You didn't take turrets. They were even in turrets. They lost all of the dragons, the first 3 dragons of the game, when you should have all of those because they were down bot pressure. And then they also didn't actually snowball.
The one thing they got was the Rift Herald. And then they did use it mid, but again, didn't even take the turret in that moment.
No, I'm thinking about that, right? Because we were talking, is it too many rookies in? Well, yes, there are a lot of these new players, but Kumo and Blabber play together. They've been playing together last spring split for a while. They're very successful in the Cloud9 Academy, the Academy scene. Why is it that these 2 guys that have been playing together suddenly can't synergize with?
Well, they can synergize with each other.
Yeah,
right.
Like, the fact that they can't close seems weird to me because I know they have closed when you put them in their respective Academy and LCS leagues for both sides.
From the outside perspective for me, looking at this game, I saw Niski's other game where he also played the same matchup, and I always thought to myself, this matchup was never very good for Veigar. Like, this is a matchup where you have to use Protobelt to cut the edge, but like, Veigar loses to poke comps. And so when you have comps like, GP plus Corki with Yuumi heal alone countering the poke on the enemy team, as well as like enhancing the poke of the Corki, like Corki just takes over the game. And so I'm surprised he won the other game, and this is a good example of a game where it's like, you're playing Corki into what, like Proto Belt, Veigar, you're playing to Jarvan, you're playing to like Lux and Ezreal, and it just turns out you can just 2v5 them all with Yuumi and Mikhail's. Like, they can't do anything.
Right.
So I think that like, maybe this is one of the times where you look at the game plan and you're like, well, if we fall behind, we lose. And that's how it felt to me.
Right, but at one point it was 2 to 8 in kills before they handed the couple over. This is one of those games where I look at it and I go, like, if Sven was in that game, do any of us think that they wouldn't have won from that position where they were up 6 kills?
We all predicted C9.
Yeah, we all think C9 is going to win that. So, like, I think that was an example of, like, if the top side, which is where they snowballed the hardest through kills and where you have the least experience, if you swap in a little bit more experience either in the top or jungle position, they probably actually snowball that correctly.
And so I think it's fair to levy criticism at Cloud9, right, for dropping the ball in this regard in terms of closing out a game that maybe they should have been able to win. But on the flip side, I think we have to talk about Echo Fox and, again, the fundamentals that allowed them to get to the point of winning the final fight, which is picking up the CS on the map, right? Picking up the dragons when they're available to you. We saw these Ocean Drakes come up big in a lot of these fights alongside the Yuumi sustain. We saw the CS advantages for Echo Fox being the reason why GP is still able to contest with damage in these fights.
It's weird because with the Ocean Drakes, Cloud9 was in a really strange position in how to fight. The Ezreal build is more pokey, so you have all champions that are just poke. It's not flat out stand there and deliver DPS like the Lucian or the Corki can, so they have to go weave in and out with their cooldowns, and when Fox has Yuumi, Gangplank, and all the tools to get past the sustain up that you need for the poke, it's very easy for them to take on these team fights and just march right on through Cloud9, who, without as many Ocean Drakes and weak engage, doesn't hold a candle to the poke that Fox provides.
Yep, I think biggest thing for me was Lucian Yuumi snowballed the bot lane by a lot. Regardless who got subbed in, they shouldn't have been down 40 CS. 30.
That is, I think that's a really fair point.
Wait a minute, look at the damage that Yuumi did. What's the, what?
Poke damage, man.
That's
she sits on, that's all of those team, that's lane phase and all those team fights.
Veigar had 1,200 AP. And Yuumi almost did the same damage. Yeah, that's 1,200 AP.
Yuumi will legitimately usually be the 5th highest DPS champion in the game.
Like, the range on her poke is insane.
That's the thing. Yuumi, Corki, like, they just had a better poke composition and they got the Ocean. So it felt really bad to play as the Veigar.
Right. Things came together for an Echo Fox that was struggling there here in the mid-split. For C9 with 2 of the younger guys in the lineup. Don't pick it up today. We'll see what they come back with tomorrow. Revisiting our predictions, though, from the top of the day. We have a slight correction because Scar actually predicted 100 Thieves to win this next matchup against Optic.
No. I go by this because, like, you know what? I'm on the desk. I don't know if I'm going to be back. I want to go for the contrary opinion.
Yeah.
I think this isn't even that bad of a matchup. I'm thinking worst case scenario, this is like a 40-60 matchup. 100 Thieves haven't even looked that bad.
Yeah. So what are the aspects of 100 Thieves that make you feel they can beat Optic?
Their bot lane's actually playing the game now.
Okay.
And then
That's a good start.
They've reconnected.
Yeah, before I felt like obviously everyone points to Someday, that's their best player. And then like, for some reason now that Someday's out, I think, and their bot lane kind of like had a mental reset. They're like, oh, we can win lane and carry the game. So their bot lane's been performing excellently.
All right.
Even though they lost a star player, they regained some star players on the opposite side of the map.
That's what I like. Scar comes on the desk to make things interesting for me. We've got one more game before we call it a day where Captain Flowers has a special segment for 100 Thieves fans. You won't want to miss it on the other side.
Whoa.
What's he doing?
He spilled already.
Yeah.
Even without Dennis, we're still spilling everything.
Now fighting the top side of the wall comes driving yet again solo. His health bar is just that, and the dunk comes across. A good flash. Trying to run away. The slow from the ultimate, buying a little bit of space, but
no ulti Veigar, no ulti Veigar.
Yep. I'm gonna mark Jarvan. Jarvan,
you can go on Corki.
Jarvan, no EQ.
I'm just looking for TP if they TP.
Nice.
Oh, Ezreal's dead. Fight. Let's chase him out.
Jarvan.
Kill Jarvan. And then let's go to Baron, okay?
It's Apollo looking to kite away sneaky. Jim Morano finds the kill and traded back by Niski. Look at the scoreboard, though. It is 3 for C9 and 4 alive for Echo Fox.
Echo Fox are pinging towards the Cloud9 base. They're going to try to
Barrel chain.
them.
Gonna be found out by the barrel chain. A single Q might kill him. Exhaust is in. Buys a bit of space, but they're gonna kill the mid laner. They're gonna find the kills. Down in kills doesn't matter. Up in Nexus's Echo Fox win.
You got your own car with your own insurance. Thanks, Steph. No more driving that old hand-me-down.
Surprise!
No,
I'm not gonna get a date in this.
We had a lot of great dates in this car.
No, ew.
Hello and welcome back here for game number 5, where Optic Gaming square up against 100 Thieves. Now, for 100 Thieves fans, it has been a turbulent road, to say the least. After an explosive entry into the scene last year, a last-place finish in spring of 2019 would be devastating for any fan base. How would I know? Well, I happen to be very close to one of their biggest fans, My own mom, Mama Flowers, has weighed in on how 100 Thieves have been doing throughout their history, and to best chart how the split has gone for her and for the team, I'd like to share some snippets of the conversation we've had over the past few weeks. Now, starting off here, you can see the beginning of June, the beginning of summer split. 10th place is no deterrent for the true fan. Okay, new split, new team, let's go. Go 100 Thieves. She's excited for the team and what they're gonna bring to the table here in summer. However, she's not a blind fan. Things go south a little bit there on Saturday, and she says they're not even putting up a little bit of a fight. You can see Homer Simpson going to sleep here. Mom feeling about the same, as the Thieves were not showing up too hard on the Rift. She's optimistic again on Sunday, but is once again left disappointed by the Thieves' performance. Now, moving forward even further into the future here, you can see this is where she's once again, even after the week of disappointment, saying, all right, let's go 100 Thieves. Today is their day. Let's do it. She also gets a little bit of education here as to what a Poro is and how Sejuani is able to ride them in her holiday skin. And then we go down here into more Poros. And hey, good to see the Thieves putting up a fight instead of giving up. That's the kind of improvement we want to see, making plays happen even if you don't get the W just yet. Moving forward yet another week, she's starting to lay down a little bit of demands here. It's time for the Thieves to secure a win, get ahead, and actually take that one to the enemy nexus. You get the patented hell yeah must run in the family. This one here, I don't know what this is. We got to be happy about those things. Those are good things. Skarner being locked in again. And you can see as we went further, she actually called both the 100 Thieves over Cloud9 and Optic over TSM surprise wins. She also called Golden Guardians upsetting Liquid, but hey, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Pretty good there for her. And a freak tier pun down here. We're just going to dismiss that one. Go to the next image, showing even more of her fandom for the team, even more so than her fandom for me, because I said 100 Thieves probably wouldn't be able to make playoffs on this or that, and she said she hopes that I'm casting the game specifically so she can watch me eat my words. One more slide we got coming up here shows her most recent opinion on the Thieves, which is that, hey, even though they went 1-1 last week, the game that they lost was up against our best team in Team Liquid, and they made them work for it, and she's happy enough with that. There were even a couple typos in this one. That's the passion we're looking for the fandom, for the teams. And as 100 Thieves go into this match, I hope they can continue to improve, if only for their biggest fan, my mom, so I can get some happy emojis in the text messages instead of some sad emojis. Now, are your buddies blowing up your phone with LCS reactions to 100 Thieves or whoever their favorite team is? If they are, post your screen caps and share them with LCS Official at LCS Official on Twitter. Please edit out all the numbers to avoid trolling your pals. You might think it's funny, but they probably don't want 1,000 different spam calls, and we don't want to be responsible. So take care of that one, and now we'll see if 100 Thieves can deliver as I send it over to the casters for Game 5.
Thank you very much, Captain Flowers. My biggest takeaway was that your mom calls you Captain. That's weird, because actually my sister has called me Freak my entire life, and now I understand it wasn't with the PH in front.
Why are you thinking Captain Flowers? Thank his mom.
Thanks, Captain
She
Flowers,
was the whole
Mom.
segment.
That's true, but he delivered it so eloquently. Either way, it's time for the starting lineups on stage. Selecting blue side is Optic Gaming. Their top laner is Dokla. We're gonna go to the jungle first. Meteos in the jungle. Mid laner is Crown. Arrow in the bot lane with support Big. Coaches Zabutine and Croissant.
Nice.
You do that every time, so I had to match you.
Do not do it like that. Loading up on the red side, it's 100 Thieves. In the top lane, Fake God. In the jungle, amazing. In the mid lane, Ryu, bot and support will be Bang and Afro Mu with coaches Prawley and Joseph Jang.
So this is actually, I think, a very exciting matchup right now. Optic are in playoff position. They do have the chance at holding on to that right now. Golden Guardians lost earlier in the day. They are in a good spot to keep that going. The 100 Thieves side, though, they are on the up and up. They're 3-3 with Ryu. And it feels like to me, in this split, a sub 500 record will make playoffs. I actually think that's going to be true at the end of the day, that an 8-10 team is going to be 6th place here. That's how I feel the league is going right now. And so 100 Thieves actually not that far off from making that record happen. I think they can make the climb here.
Yeah, I definitely think it's possible. When so many teams are trading wins, you know, it's not as though the top 6 have stacked up this monumental lead. It's very, very close between, you know, 6th and even last. So 100 Thieves certainly have an opportunity to continue climbing up in the standings. And, you know, they had strung together 3 straight wins, but last weekend up against TSM and Liquid, very tough opponents. They did lose both of those. And the question is now, you know, was that just kind of because they're playing against some of the best teams in the league, or was the 3 straight wins a bit of a fluke? You know, and I'm really interested to see how they're going to perform against Optic, because I do tend to believe that 100 Thieves is getting better.
I think they're getting better as well. It's going to be an exciting matchup here as we are into the picks and bans already. And you can see support ban, Zaya ban coming out as well. Karma and Sejuani, no big surprises here either. Of course, it's going to be the first regulation match on 9-13 for both of the teams, and it's always exciting to see if they ever have new stuff cooked up. We saw the Jarvan support earlier, for example. I think that's always pretty exciting.
Yeah, we definitely have seen some pretty creative stuff here today, and last weekend as well, honestly. Seeing some Yasuo-bot and Syndra-bot and various things like that kind of making their way into the LCS. But these were not kind of some of the teams that were doing the really crazy stuff, so I am expecting more of a continuation of the kind of standard play that we have been seeing. But Bang and Aphromoo have been playing a lot more aggressively, and I think they have been playing better, and that has been somewhat of a catalyst to their renewed success.
Definitely been a big deal. I think Arrow's been getting a lot better this split as well. He was a very big pickup when he came in. His first split in NA, he was an MVP. Got, I think it was 3rd place with his squad. Phoenix won back then, and it was a solid run. And now looking, I always love that Dokla hovers Wukong for Alorum every time. I think it's always a nice shout out. He'll pick up his ear though. Even though Corki is still up to match the scaling matchup in the mid lane, you can have Crown on a late game carry.
Yeah, the mid laners that I've talked to do kind of prefer the Azir side of this, feeling that you're going to be able to have the push in the mid lane and be able to poke out Corki, make it kind of tough for the Corki in the early stages. Of course, I think it is a fairly even matchup and very skill dependent, but we will see if Ryu is going to kind of handshake on that scaling matchup. He is a Corki player and kind of always has been, so I wouldn't be shocked to see that, but there are always some of the other answers, trying to go a little bit more aggressive, trying to go for roaming styles, and trying to kind of put the game at a pace that Azir has trouble matching.
Absolutely the case here. So Jarvan going to be picked up, and he's definitely can be a high-tempo jungler. We saw actually how well the early game went just in the previous one when Cloud9's Jarvan got several ganks off in the early game, just weren't quite able to convert. 100 Thieves going to grab more hard engage, more frontline as Nautilus is grabbed up now. Very likely for Aphromoo. We've pretty much only seen Nautilus as support, so expecting that one there.
Yeah, very interesting. Grabbing that Nautilus really early on. Maybe getting paired with the Xayah. I have seen that combo quite a lot, and we have been seeing... Oh yeah, Xayah is actually banned out, my mistake. So interesting to see where they're going to go. Perhaps something along the lines of Lucian, could be pretty good. Callista can be a good aggressive option as well if you want to go that sort of a route. The respect ban of Draven has already been thrown the way of Arrow, so maybe you deny a little of that lane power from Optic and try to go for it yourself.
And part, I think, the point of that pick as well is it takes away Big's most played 5 Nautilus games compared to 2 of Yuumi. Definitely seems to have a very focused champion pool where he always seems to want the Nautilus, at least as long as Yuumi is banned away. So it will mean Optic to show something different in the support role. That can certainly matter as well. And it looks like none of the teams actually care that much about Sylas. It'll be the Jarvan and Rek'Sai as the respective junglers here in this game.
Yeah, very interesting stuff. Amazing has been playing a decent bit of Jarvan. This will put him as the most played, tied alongside Sejuani. Rek'Sai here for Meteos, a bit more of an aggressive look. It's actually his first play this split. He has been kind of more on tank duty and performing, I think, very, very well with that. Meteos certainly has been one of the standout players for Optic. I think that him and Crown have been, really carrying a lot of kind of the load here for the squad, and the rest of the players are certainly playing well around them, but they have been, I think, what a lot of their games have been coming down to.
Okay, so look at the draft so far. We do have matched up mid laners in Azir versus Corki, and as we've kind of mentioned, you tend to favor Azir there in the matchup. No seeming counterpick there for 100 Thieves, just going to take another scaling champion themselves. Also, junglers grabbed up, Jarvan first dibs, Rek'Sai matching that one, but then it gets a bit more differentiated. You've got a Nautilus support on the one side, Aatrox top on the other, and now it means you've got desynced roles there, so I'm expecting some more support bans, and 100 Thieves actually choosing to not ban him. Double check on my client, that is indeed a no ban.
Yeah, we'll find out very quickly if that was intended or not. Sometimes the teams are just too slow to actually lock it in, and that can count against them. But if it was some sort of a client error, then we will obviously be fixing that.
Wait to see what's coming out, but looking at Optic Gaming side, and with that graphic going away,
probably
I'm kind of expecting a different look here. So we'll see what it is they wanted to do, if it was just being slow or what, but we'll stop down and show you champ select again when it comes back up.
Yeah. Usually I don't believe we'll actually reset if they were just slow. I think they actually will just lose that ban. So it had to be some sort of a, sometimes the teams will say that it's a like client for lock-in or things like that. But either way, assuming we are restarting, picks and bans will be the same up to that point. And I do think that, from 100 Thieves side, I was kind of expecting more marksman-style bans, targeting Arrow. You can look at that, or the support perhaps, the desync there, trying to get some sort of an edge on the bottom side. I mean, if you want to play Nautilus, you want to play aggressive, there's kind of the two sides of the coin. Do you try to deny the supports that stop your engage, or do you try to take away some of the ADs like Ezreal, who might be able to play more safely around it?
All right, word I've got on my headset was client issue and remaking champion select, so seemingly not human keyboard error interface, so will be just when we get back into this one. The 10 players are in the lobby, so as long as we have all the spectators and referees and stuff that we need, we'll be okay. We'll see when that comes through, but it shouldn't be too long from now. And yeah, I am curious what comes through. As you mentioned, marksman bans seeming to be likely, as you're looking for ways to make that Nautilus work pretty well. You know, getting rid of some of the safe ones, especially, I think, you know, letting yourself opt into playing against Ezreal probably feels a little bit weak in that case, as, you know, it just gets away from everything you ever do, and nothing ever looks good there. But yeah, we'll wait to see what the choices end up being and what the counter pick top lane is going to be there as well. Because once you see the mid laner and you see the jungler, you know that Aatrox for Dokla is for Dokla 100%. And whenever you want, you can grab Fake God's counter pick.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Fake God has been playing, I think, a pretty big variety of champions. We'll see if he has anything, you know, in store for that matchup in particular. I don't think Kennen was banned, but I'm having trouble calling that specifically. That can be a fairly good matchup if you want to play that into the Aatrox, play towards the early game, and look for that sort of advantage there. Have gotten an update a little bit ago. It was about 3 minutes that we were looking at for this delay before we will get back in.
Okay.
But that was probably about a minute ago, so we'll peg it around 2.
Peg it around 2 minutes. I also heard that all the picks and bans up to that point remain valid. So the first 3 bans, first 3 picks per side, all going to stay the same as well. Midos on your screen, player I want to talk about, because I've really enjoyed watching him this split so far. You keep in mind in spring he was splitting time with Dardoch, and I actually remember being on the dive saying I wasn't really sure who would have been the better pick. I didn't think Midos was all that convincing. I think either one would have made the case for him. But I have been all about Midos so far this split. I think he's been absolutely phenomenal for Optic. All split long, they're in playoff position, and they're looking good, and a lot of it's because of him.
Yeah, I think he's been very, very consistent, and he's a player that has been extremely consistent throughout his entire career, right? You know, you look at his all-time record in the LCS, it's a ridiculous win rate. He has been, you know, certainly one of the best performing players for so many years in the league, and I think sometimes because he's not always playing the most flashy style, he can be overlooked at times, but certainly is a very effective player, and what he's bringing to the team, I think, through comms and through experience is extremely valuable as well. Did get word that we are just kind of checking the clients, making sure that there's not going to be any, you know, additional issues going forward. They did have a ban that they wanted to lock in and weren't able to do it. So making sure that there will not be any repeats of that issue.
I have a question for you now, as we're talking about Meteos some more, as we just wait for the game to start. What was your favorite Meteos arc? Because there was initial Cloud9, blown out blonde hair Meteos. There was the return with Phoenix One, which is dark Meteos.
Are you talking about his look or like his actual in-game play?
I mean, I think they're intertwined.
Oh.
It's like any anime where, like, you know, Goku just transforms.
I don't even know why I asked the question. It's just dark
always
Meteos.
dark Meteos. Yeah. And now, what is this, like regular Meteos now? It's just brunette Meteos?
Yeah, I think this is just like nice guy Meteos.
Nice guy Meteos.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we actually do need a term for it. Like, what does this Meteos look now? Because, again, it was obviously Super Saiyan at the beginning with the legendary 12.7 KDA or whatever it actually was. And then, yeah, the Phoenix One Dark Meteos times. And now we're just like journeyman, extremely good jungler forever, nice guy Meteos.
Guess so. I don't know.
At LC's official, let us know on Twitter. I want to know your answer because I have no idea.
I don't really have, you know, a definition for you.
I'm not good at making up names, honestly. I name my D&D NPCs Jeff and stuff like that. I get nothing going. Yeah, I'm really disappointing as a DM, actually, but that's just how it goes.
So why don't you just use a random name generator?
Yeah, because that's like another tab I have to have open my laptop, and I'm already juggling too many things.
Time.
Yeah, I don't. Well, we are at a champion select once again. We're out of this conversation. All right, we got the bans and picks coming through pretty quickly here as we do have the lobbies back up. And looks like they have to actually, oh, this is interesting. The client looks different than normal as the bans are coming through and the picks are already locked in. That's a new look for me, but we'll get that up on your screen as soon as we are ready to go onto that side. And the coaches and players get ready to resume where they left off in the picks and bans.
Yeah, I'm not sure why it looks that way. That is a little bit strange, but hopefully we will have no issues. Just waiting on those bans to come through for both sides, and I'm sure we will be popping up Champ Select once we arrive back to where we were in the pick ban. So yeah, I mean, it is not full parity. You know, we have both mid laners locked in. We have a top laner as well as a jungler there for Optic, and you know, we are assuming jungle as well as support for 100 Thieves. So generally speaking, we are looking for kind of bans targeted towards the pieces that your opponents have not yet drafted, right? You know, that is certainly what you are trying to do, and 100 Thieves do have a lot of engage already with this Nautilus J4, so I'll be excited to see if they are going to try to really emphasize that strength and look for very aggressive sort of draft where they can try to play a much more up-tempo game.
It's going to be exciting to see what they do actually want to go for here as we finally have the last picks coming through. Aatrox just got locked in. The Rek'Sai is going to follow pretty soon after, and then we will get this all back up on your screen. I feel just debated. We're like, all right, picks and bans begun again. I'm like watching them lock in stuff on my monitor, and they're just showing us their faces. I just like when the visual medium, lines up with what I'm saying, and it's just unlucky here. But we are finally into the real phase, as the ban phase is here.
We
there
did
we
it.
go. I didn't actually lie. I was truthful in talking about the tempo on this one. And Tom Kench is the ban, as they already have a Nautilus. They're going to add some support bans.
That makes a lot of sense. Take that Tom Kench off the table, someone who can certainly deny a lot of that hard engage. They already have quite a bit of it. Big has played Morgana. I do think that's another ban that could make some sense if you want to target the support pool. Morgana matches up quite well into Nautilus. It's so easy to black shield the Nautilus ultimate. It's a very, very telegraphed ability. Has a long travel time, so certainly something they could consider for this final ban. There is the Kennen ban protecting the Aatrox. I think that makes a lot of sense. Certainly something that is both in Fake God's champion pool and a strong matchup. There are other good matchups, but they're less common in competitive play. We do see some of the other range matchups, things like Quinn, which you never really see, but even Jax we have seen showcase. That can be quite good. We have seen people bringing out Camille, Grasp Camille, even like more top laners are feeling like they want to play for the lane, and that rune is so powerful in that. So it would be interesting to see if Fake God goes that direction.
And there's the Ezreal ban. Hunter Thieves are trying to get rid of some of the safety in the bottom lane. So this tells me they're looking for aggro through the bot lane.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, Optic almost never ganked for top. Actually, Dokla is so frequently left on an island. He doesn't go up there very much. And it looks like maybe the junglers are all going to spend their time down to the bottom lane here, as it's going to be maybe a quite volatile matchup.
Yeah, I think we're going to get Lucian from Bang if that's not banned out. That would be my guess, is you just go Lucian Nautilus, you try to look aggressive, but I do think that Optic has the ability to go towards something like a Morgana. There are still other safe laners along the lines of Caitlyn, even though we haven't seen it that much. That can be a pretty powerful duo, and I think matches up quite well into Nautilus. So that would be something you could look towards. Varus also can be a pretty strong option, but you do kind of have that added layer of not having a dash, which can make it difficult to actually deal with Nautilus and J4.
All right, well, Hunter Thieves first dibs on a marksman pick, and they are going to look for not that just yet, but Gangplank, and I think this actually...
It's got to be a sneaky pick then.
Yeah, apparently it's got to be something a little bit special. I mean, maybe move the Corki around and you're actually playing Assassin in the mid lane, but that seems unlikely. But Gangplank's going to match up against Aatrox, no problem. They'll wait to see what the entire Optic bot lane is and then answer afterward.
Yeah, and they really, instead of actually blind picking that bot laner, they really do want to get a strong matchup into their opponents. So they're going to look to actually pick 4 lane, saving that marksman pick 4 lane for Bang. And there's the possibility that he brings out, a melee champion or an AP champion or something like that.
Yeah.
But this does mean you give over Lucian, right? That is kind of what my expected pick was, and Arrow will be able to grab that away. So he has kind of taken a generally strong laning champion that has a dash, which can help to avoid the Nautilus and so on and so forth. So the question is then just like, what is the pick that 100 Thieves can actually grab here to really try to bully this lane? I think Varus can be fairly strong. It does have a lot of laning power, but Lucian Thresh is a really strong 2v2, and I think that Arrow and Big have drafted themselves pretty kind of bulletproof lane here, where it feels like it's really hard to get a monumental advantage in the draft.
Well, 100 Thieves going to hope they can be bulletproof here. They're against Lucian with 2 guns. That's going to make it a bit harder here, and 15 seconds to go, and they need a marksman pick, or at least some kind of bot laner. We've definitely seen people try things out. We've seen bot laners play mid and bring out a Zed. We've seen Syndra come down here, all kinds of weird stuff. And Kai'Sa gonna come in as the bot lane. So a lot of magic damage actually on this roster, Kai'Sa and Corki. Corki wears mostly magic, Kai'Sa partially so. Don't worry, Gangplank, of course, quite the threat himself. But it is team with a lot of crowd control. Both Nautilus and Jarvan can set up to get these Kai'Sa ultimates in the back line. They try to assassinate someone like Azir.
Yeah, certainly, not bad. But it's a lot more scaling than I expected, honestly. This is such a late game style of composition. It feels like 400 Thieves. I thought that the last pick was going to be more lane focused, try to give them one kind of powerful lane that they can look to play through. As unfortunately, we're going to have to remake again, it looks like. But, we do have Kai'Sa, Corki, and GP. That is not exactly an explosive early game, right? This does require consistency.
Everyone should
have seen mostly for the champion, especially in this matchup against Azir. A lot of players are finding you are getting pushed in, you are getting poked out, so Fleet will help with that. But likewise for Crown, he did not go common. He is kind of going that scaling option with the lethal tempo, and that certainly can help to set him up for the later stages of the game.
All right. Walking around, waiting for the openings in this one here is no one who's looking to stack anything like a Mana Flow band. Maybe it's Bang.
No,
it's not. He's got stats.
Yeah, he's probably not going to be going for that. But, Meteos is someone I really want to track in the early game. We did see, Santorin, I believe, playing the Rek'Sai earlier. Wasn't really able to make too much happen for his team in the early stages. But I do think that this is a champion that has potential to actually really take over in those earlier levels. You obviously have to hit 3 before you can do much. But past then, especially with Hail of Blades, it can be very, very powerful in the early game dueling. And when you do have these lanes that can kind of set you up for success, like this Thresh.
Another thing I want to point out as well, actually, is Bang's rune choices here. I think so frequently we see almost every player in a carry kind of position goes Inspiration second and takes free boots or stopwatch or free potions to lane better. Bang's one of the few players who's gone back to sorcery second on marksman. Now these runes do not help Kai'Sa get her evolve sooner. There's no special character interactions. Just, well, actually the stats are quite good. They've really never been wrong in solo queue, but pros were almost always going for laning stats, and this is Bang saying, no, I actually want the team fight stats instead. I want the scaling option here with extra attack damage late game.
Yeah, and I want to say I did actually see him tweeting about that and saying that it's no, I swear, sorcery is right,
actually
guys.
correct, yeah.
This is what you're supposed to be doing. Everyone else is wrong. So, certainly feeling confident in his choices, and I do think that's nice to see players, who kind of do the math for themselves or
trust an analyst if nothing else.
Yeah, or that, just kind of figuring out what they believe to be correct and not feeling as though they have to do kind of what everyone else is running.
Yeah, always a fan of players who are willing to figure it out for themselves and not just be meta sheep. Love it, love it, love it. A lot of respect for Bang as a player. He's been just a phenomenal player for so long. A rough spring, but I still think he's an amazing player. And now looking at the rest of his team, what they can do is it's just early jungle pathing. A couple of camps done for each of these junglers and slowly getting around the rest of the map.
Yeah, and I think that's really what we're waiting for to see, if Meteos or Amazing are going to make any sort of early moves. Barring that, there probably will not be a ton of action in the early game, certainly not from Korkian and Seer. Perhaps there can be on the bot side, though, if you can't hit those hooks.
Good reflexes for Big, actually managed to land the Q in the middle. Lots of damage on both junglers here. It'd be 3 more autos to pop the pass, but not going to happen there. But Big able to start the hook before Afro connected, so trading blows there, getting the Aftershock in time. Meteos smites to claim the blue and kills a ward.
But you are seeing just how much potential there is actually to trade back from Bang and Aphromoo as well, right? Despite the fact that they got the hook before Aftershock came through. Press the attack procs from Bang. He gets his passive proc as well, and that actually burst down Big so incredibly low. So they both traded fairly evenly there. Despite the fact that you do kind of consider the Lucian, that early game champion, if you can ever get that 5th hit passive off on Kai'Sa, it's really serious amounts of damage.
Yeah, seriously is. Of course, Nautilus brings to himself with the Q and the empowered auto attack, and he's got to get a few more across there, but not able to do too much with Bang just yet. A couple of hits back and forth, and we still have a fairly tight game. Small gold lead right now to Optic.
Yeah, very interesting. Bang, they got that first push, and he just straight up based immediately. Normally you are seeing pros sit in lane a lot longer. He knows the wave was going to push towards him because it will stack from his opponent's turret and push up. So he goes back, he gets a longsword and a dagger, a quick early buy. He knows that Arrow is playing TP, so he didn't want to sit around and allow Arrow to kind of get the lane advantage from that. So I think this early base is a smart answer to the teleport. When you had that first push that you're often going to get with a melee champion. You have the Relic Shield, you have the AoE from Nautilus as well, so hey, answer that before they really kind of get a chance to make themselves have a big advantage with the teleport.
Pretty reasonable stuff. Health bar is pretty high on both these sides right now, and we can see as a Trinket Ward put down, watches Optic as they play around, and Big is going to go back to the Fog of War, and feint or actually go in through the river as he grabs a couple of coins, and back out he goes. Of course, there's a Trinket right there, so we'll be spotted doing this, but always good to have some vision down, and he's going to see a Crab. He's not going to go for an actual deep ward because Aphromoo went into Fog. Doesn't know if Amazing could be there, so takes the safe option of not going for the aggressive ward because it might have killed him, and he was right about that.
Well, now they can actually look for this. Amazing has no flag and drag, but wow, he actually is able to just kill that off so quickly. So, Meteos and Big, I think, were expecting the scuttle take and wanted to look for it, but couldn't get there in time.
I think they also saw Arrow recall on a ward. There was a Trinket ward that was in the brush that did now time out, but I think they actually knew that it was safe. You can see he immediately walked right down. Afro was there to meet him, so still a good play on all sides, and they make that happen. Right now, though, still that 300 to 400 gold lead for Optic. The current top lane matchup is going well for Dokla as he's pushing in the gangplank, but generally speaking, I take a late game gangplank in most cases.
Yeah, definitely the case. Certainly there is still high potential from the Aatrox, if you are able to get the resets or get some really big hits in with your sweet spots from the Q. But generally speaking, I would say that it's much more consistent to kind of have that GP, and GP can...
Oh, yeah.
Fake God running out of mana, able to sidestep to not get knocked out the second time by the Q. Walked back in to close that gap. Expected the E, and he was right about that, but so much damage being dealt. He is out of mana, level 6 for Dokla, and means Fake God's in a really rough spot, gonna last it what he can, but might miss a lot of this under the turret.
That's actually pretty nice. Dokla actually delayed the base. Amazing is here. Fake God has hit 6, but I don't think they can actually even look for this. Yeah, Meteos is in the area. Your GP is very low on mana, so there's the potential that it just gets turned around. But they actually are threatening to look for this dive anyway. I don't think you can pull that off.
Yeah, and Amazing knows he's there. He put the flag down before he left and checks this brush now as well. Sees that the Krugs are being attacked, and Fake God at least able to gain the XP. He's down 13 CS though with his wave resets, and with that pressure means a fight for the Krugs. That's picked up right there. Very little gold earned by Amazing, as most of it is stolen away.
Yeah, and that's very nice from Meteos. You know, just get this little bit of pressure, cover your top laner as he is pushing in, then be able to take away that major camp. So Meteos closing in on 6 here. Dokla will be able to reset and likely save his teleport. We'll see if he actually does want to expend it, just get back to lane immediately, but the wave is going to push to him, so okay, he's just going to teleport for lane priority. So you know, this is one of those plays where you really do kind of have to make good on it. You could have had the guaranteed TP advantage. Instead, he now wants to play for the lane, so you have to kind of get something out of that. You want to be the one who is then continuing to pressure that GP.
Especially considering your matchup is against a global ultimate, where TP down is probably a gangplank advantage. Yeah. Just tosses R into the bottom lane, and when the all-in comes through, well, you got a free assist and 100 gold out of it. So can watch out for that one, absolutely. Bang gonna run forward. There's the play right away. And speaking of gangplank, puts it down, damage towards Arrow. Bang actually got his ult interrupted. Big managed to play him on time, and nothing came through there. The flash though, 2 auto, and he gets the kill. There's the 100 gold to gangplank, and first blood to 100 Thieves.
Yeah, Meteos gonna get flashed on though. Looks like Amazing will have to back off, so the flash not able to actually get anything out of that, but 100 Thieves coming up with first blood and on Bang in this matchup. So well played.
Really nicely done right there, as the wave is in a really bad spot before Fake God getting some of it. Gonna lick his wounds in the matchup. Yeah, he's down in gold, but I'll take first blood bot lane every time.
Yeah, that is so good. And even Big's hook coming out a split second too late. So, you know, if he's still alive, you get that additional little yank towards the turret, and maybe Bang gets pulled into the turret and there's potential for a counter kill, but the timing's certainly working out. Aframu stepping forward here. They know they're about to actually hit 6, and you know, flash in, gets the root, ignite down, GP ultimate. That was a great play from Big. Does interrupt Bang out of it, but then they just turn straight onto Big. The heal comes out for the additional speed, flashing over the minions there to guarantee he can hit the W. Not wanting to risk that getting blocked by a minion, and Bang, grabbing the early first blood.
Nice stuff. 100 Thieves bottom lane really has been stepping up ever since they took Someday out of the starting lineup. Remember, we're talking to Amazing about that. He said, yeah, just me and Ryu being here, we just do enough to plug the holes in the team. This, through shot calling and veteran experience, it's been enough to turn things around. And for whatever reason, Bang and Afro were playing better ever since that change. 3-3 with this new lineup, looking at 4-3 with a lead over Optic right now.
And sometimes it can just be one of those situations where, you know, it's just the kind of the change in environment, right? You know, that gives you a little bit of a new lease on life. It feels like, all right, things are reset. You know, you get a bit of a mental refresh from that, and sometimes that can just kind of make you feel like things are looking up again, or like you have, you know, kind of a better shot at turning things around when you're kind of in a rut and you're constantly losing, even if you feel like you're playing with a great player. And you hear all the pros in the LCS talking about how good Someday is and how they think it's like unfair that he's playing in Academy.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's just working out better with this roster for now.
That's the play so far. Now, it is actually a gold lead to Optic's favor. To be fair, they are up overall money. Dokla is hard smashing top lane. Fake God, of course, having to fill in the shoes of Someday, and good luck with that one. It's not you, it's the rest of the team who needs it, and you know, he's doing the best he can, but you've got a farm lead here for Crown, who's consistently been a great performer for Optic, and now looking to push down into Ryu, getting some damage down there. Aframu takes him to Culling, but overall a close game as the gold is in 100.
Yep, and you know, thus far, you know, has not really been any jungle action. You know, Meteos has just been kind of happy to farm. Amazing likewise here, so you know, another Rek'Sai game where it is just kind of a pretty slow pace. The threat of the roam down to the bot lane there from Amazing and Ryu does make Arrow and Big back off, but as soon as they see Ryu showing back up mid lane, they go right back to it. And Meteos taking this Rift Trail at the same time means they are going to come out ahead as a result. He can grab the Rift, he can grab the Scuttle, and look to threaten, you know, maybe a potential dive up topside, or look to threaten something like that. Could be very, very nice. Yep. You know, to kind of continue this Aatrox and kind of push him further ahead of the GP.
Yeah, First time it feels like 100 Thieves actually have the push lead in the bottom lane. That's enough for Amazing to walk down to this Cloud Drake and pick it up. Not easy to lane against Lucian Thresh, but it's been pretty solid for the 100 Thieves squad. And of course, mid lane had been pushed with Azir's favor as well, so it was difficult for a while, but they found their way in. And a trade of objectives as it'll be Meteos' turn to put down Rift Herald when it's appropriate.
And Meteos is taking away the whole top side, really, from Amazing. You know, he farmed up the Raptors, now he's going to go up and actually take away Krugs here also. I believe he just left that one little Raptor up to kind of delay the spawn time even more, so definitely an annoying one there for Amazing, as he's going to come back to his top side and see all this missing.
Yeah.
And he's just going to be down quite a bit in experience.
What's really interesting is, even though the CS difference on the scoreboard is 4 across the junglers, the actual goal difference is 400. The quality of camps taken by Meteos by taking big Krug so often is actually massive right now. So a lot of the Optic lead is just on jungle difference by playing through the top jungle.
Yeah, and Meteos has 4 camps available on the map right now, where Amazing has 1, right? So that gold lead is just going to extend because he spent his time farming his opponent's camps and now can retreat back to his side of the map, the safe side of the map, and pick up all those additional camps. So, you know, I do think this is a very smart move. Dragon can take quite a long time to take down, you know, in the early stages of that game. So Amazing, you know, did look to try to invest in that potential dive. That didn't happen. Then went for the Dragon. That is a lot of time spent where Meteos, you know, was taking an objective and then just farming.
All right, well, the big Krug taken out by Arrow, trying to get some of his farm back up, make his numbers look good. Storm Razor, though, already done for Bang. Gonna feel pretty comfortable as Fake God takes some of these caster minions. Only sees Dokla, doesn't know that Rek'Sai could be nearby, but playing safely enough regardless.
Yeah, playing quite safe, and you know, Meteos even kind of donating those Krugs over to Arrow. I'm not sure if that was a forced donation or if it was out of the goodwill of his heart.
I don't know if you can ever force a donation. That just feels like a flash knock-up on a Fake God. Also, it's a forced donation, and out he goes.
You know, one of those things where it's like, oh, they're going to get TP'd on, actually.
Okay, Herald's up on the top side to keep that one going as the flashes come out. Big's going to be in a bad spot. Ult's going to be really well aimed. Finds a knock-up on a bow. Stopwatch burn on both sides. Afro stunned out of the turn. Do they have the follow-up damage? Yes, they absolutely do. 2 for 1 tower dive for the bot lane.
Yeah, really nice play there. They're going to get it, but at the same time, Rift Herald is actually killed off, it looks like, on the top side. Meteos will be zoning Fake God, looking for him. They're going to try to go for this turret of their own, and it will be a bit of a race. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to finish it off down on the back side. At the same time, Crown taking all of the plates except one here in the mid lane. So getting a lot of gold across the map here is Optic, and it will be first turret going to Optic.
Beautiful stuff right there. Dokla, I think, for one of the first times all split all year, getting a lot of help from his team. Meteos ganking through the lane a lot, taking the camp, still keeping Amazing out, and a gigantic lead through top sides, 30 CS, a Herald and first turret.
Yeah, and the question again becomes, can you actually convert that? You know, top laners have been having a lot of trouble, it feels like, in the LCS, actually turning their leads into wins. A great TP play coming down for Rio, GP ult for the slow, Aphromoo ultimate through Arrow, does hit big also, but a good amount of CC. The hook came through before the stopwatch went down there from Big. That bought enough time to lock down Aphromoo and get that trade kill. So at least getting that one back, which did buy them enough time to get first turret on top side.
Yeah, nice stuff there. Bottom turret didn't quite die. One thing that irks me a bit about Big's plays, he didn't flash with the lantern to give his teammate a bit more space. He dedicated the flash afterwards, but could have given Arrow a bit more movement, maybe get some away from some of the poke damage. So, you know, a bit rough there, but regardless, good play to 100 Thieves. That said, Optic got more. You can see the gold difference through all these plays. I mean, that mid turret's full HP.
Yep.
The other one is that one left. That is pretty much all Crown being a better laner than Ryu here.
And to be fair, there was also a package roam down to bot, which got bailed out of. Then a TP down to bot as well. You know, and meanwhile, Crown is just pushing and actually getting that turret damage. You know, Azir also kind of somewhat expected to push in early, but definitely Crown has been playing this lane out very, very well. And, you know, the solo lanes are kind of the beneficiaries of this Optic early game.
And now as Meteos looks around for where the opposing squad is, we still have this 1,000 gold difference in the game. Mitigated somewhat by the Cloud Drake that 100 Thieves had picked up. Everything you get from the Herald is shown in the gold. It knocked the turret down. We saw the end result of that, so that no longer really affects the map outside of what you already see on the scoreboard. As 100 Thieves can knock down a ward, they can maybe threaten Crown, but Crown feels safe with the soldiers nearby, and once again back up the map.
Yeah, Big's around the area as well. Dokla has roamed down, so certainly there was tons of Optic members in the area to respond if a full-on fight did break out. Also have to remember that Aphromoo has no flash, so you know if he does go in, it's likely to be a one-way trip. And both these teams are just kind of posturing around the Dragon Pit. This is an Infernal about to spawn here, so they want to fight very heavily for it. You can see that Ryu did go back to base, but it looks like he's coming up pretty quick, so I assume he might have package. Yeah, he does have package, so having that up for this Dragon fight, we saw earlier today, Pobelter makes such great use of it, and we'll see if Ryu can make a similar thing happen.
Gonna hope so. Corki's been pretty good today. It's gotten a lot of good results so far as Amazing puts the flag down, gets some vision. They can try to knock down a couple of these wards and take over the river. Looks like a fight is almost bound to start here as Poke goes back and forth, and the Drake has started.
Yeah, they're right on it. 100 Thieves do have positioning. Optic looking like a little bit unsure if they want to try to commit to this, but they are moving forward now.
Dokla finds some damage. Good fight for Amazing. Gonna get pulled right back in. Flag and Dark's gonna be timed wrong, but Big taking 1,000,000 damage, and Bang is on a killing spree. Son of the back line, but already one kill traded back. Both supports are dead. Crown goes to the big play, push them back, flashing away, trying to stay alive. Amazing is down, but so is the opposing jungler. 1-for-1 yet again as a 3-on-3 fight breaks out. Ryu running away from Rek'Sai. Finds some damage out of the Lucian as well. They're chasing him down. Ryu is a hit away from dead, and a flash for Dokla claims it. On the board now with his first kill.
Yeah, really nice Q flash there from Dokla. They are able to get a couple kills here, going positive in that regard, but they lose the Infernal. They will grab more of an immediate advantage with the gold from the kills and that mid lane turret, but 100 Thieves securing even more scaling with this composition that we know is kind of this ticking time bomb that they have. Corki, Kaisa, GP all scaling up, and you even have Tank Jarvan, which is kind of that more effective late game champion here as well. And we can watch this one more time. It did seem like Optic was a little bit hesitant to actually go for this play, but as they filter in, it's such a good target for the GP ultimate. Gets dropped on 4 members. You're not even able to see Meteos get in range. Meteos is actually tunneling out as Big gets engaged on. And I think, honestly, Optic was kind of lucky to win this fight. Crown had a great stream and shuffle, sweeping in multiple members, then jumping back out, had got a ton of damage down. That got Dokla the initial reset, which kind of pushes Bang and Fake got out of this fight, allowing them to go for this chase down where Dokla Q flash finishes it off.
3-2 in kills. Mid lane turret also picked up as recompense for the Infernal Drake going over the 100 side. If you scale late enough in, again, this is a very scaling heavy team. Oh! Meteos, nicely done. I believe that wasn't on ward vision. He actually blindly, he saw the tremor sense, but not the health bars themselves, and claimed that one well done.
Yeah, gonna be feeling good about that. Definitely a frustrating experience to always have those camps taken away. Arrow gonna be able to grab one on the bot side, but on the top lane.
Big flash route from a good damage towards Dokla. Top Seal trying to get away. He's running for dear life, but now Bang's on top of him. They're gonna have enough damage. You have to believe they do, and indeed there it is. A rampage now for the marksman, but a big dive on the bottom side. Sorry, the mid lane. Ryu goes down to Meteos as he sets up this kill, and mid lane's still getting pushed down.
Yeah, Fake God drops the ultimate to try to clear this out, but it's actually not on any of the ranged minions, so Optic are gonna get this turret. They took a turret on the bottom side as well, so great, you killed off Dokla, but you lose turret mid lane. You get a little bit of damage on this bot lane turret here also for Optic, and they are kind of running 100 Thieves around the map a little bit, it feels like. 100 Thieves trying to go for the kills, and it feels like Optic is just more focused on these turrets. So we already saw Dokla getting picked off here. Ryu just wants to clear this out. We can see the engage one more time here from Meteos, who just baits out the Valkyrie, waits it out completely, then flash, knock up right into the hook. Really nice CC chain there from the jungle and support of Optic, and that netted them a kill and a turret.
Nicely done. So about 3,000 gold puts Optic ahead as they are the team with the better record, and 6-4, pretty solid. Well now into the second round robin, and hoping to keep their wins alive.
You can see the early Zonia's buy here actually from Crown. I do think it makes quite a bit of sense. There's a fair bit of burst and dive coming out of 100 Thieves.
Yeah.
It's also a really nice answer just in particular to the Nautilus ultimate, right? This is really the only answer that you have. You can't flash away from that. You can't outrun that. The stasis will allow you to kind of immune that knockup, so that can be a pretty effective answer, and I think it's one of the main reasons you're going to see him building this item.
Can always shuffle away or in, and then set himself up for safety afterwards, as he's got a high kill Aatrox the top lane still, who's still got the 30 CS lead. He's got a pretty healthy Lucian. Certainly Bang is doing a whole hell of a lot better. There's a 2,000 gold lead in the bottom lane itself, and it's about a 1,700 gold lead in the mid lane, so Bang's winning by more than Crown is. Still, though, Optic as a squad doing well, so it really is basically Bang versus the world gold-wise, at least right now.
But the longer the game goes, I think just the better and better it gets for 100 Thieves, right?
Sure.
Their comp is so damn good in the late game. yes, there is Azir. Yes, there is, that kind of X factor over on Optic, but it's Azir as the hyper carry late game against, 3 essentially on the side of 100 Thieves. So I do think that can become difficult. Of course, there's always opportunities when you do have pick and engage along the lines of Thresh. But we'll see if they can kind of convert on this because, Dokla does have the lead, but I just think it's harder to get things done with this Aatrox than it is with, kind of an equally fed Kai'Sa.
And it's a 2-item Kai'Sa so far. It's going to keep getting better and better from there, I think, especially with the fact that you hit your spike before the Lucian did. I think you probably remain ahead all game, and that lead actually grows. The comparative value, I think, grows over time as the spikes come through, the evolves come in. With these items done, should be 2 evolve already.
Yep, looking like it's probably like a Hurricane next would be my guess. Could be a more defensive option, but very likely will be that Hurricane with the Brawler's built in there. Probably working towards the Zeal, and it does seem like a very effective buy, when there are kind of these 3 short-range champions who are going to be piling in towards you. Fairly effective as far as the damage does go.
Completely agree. I think my rule of thumb is always Hurricane when it's triple melee. Thresh is essentially melee in team fight scenarios, so you're going to get optimal damage, and I think you take that over most other items in any case that happens. Threat of an engage means package burned, and Ryu stays safe, still has the rest of his tools if he needs them.
Yeah, and also up. He probably just wanted to drop it. I'm assuming the package maybe was about to expire, so trying to step forward to kind of get it in range of that minion wave to try to clear that out. But Dragon is up once again, so that means we fight. 100 Thieves posturing around here, but Optic already starting up the Dragon.
Okay, and this time Optic, again, have this gold lead, 2,600 in their favor with Crown zoning out the squad. It's going to be very easy for these two to take it down as Dokla and Meteos just land all their skills, and no problem at all. Cloud Drake answered here.
Yeah. 100 Thieves not going to be able to really trade that for much of anything. Crown was always able to stay in mid lane and kind of trade wave clear for wave clear. 100 Thieves may get a little bit of vision, perhaps, kind of around this Baron pit, but it doesn't even look like they have the wards available to do so. So it will be just that full reset, and Optic can be feeling good about that one. Meteos even positioning here for a potential dive, but will back off, and I think it's a bit too risky of a play. So at the very least, he was kind of covering for his teammate.
Just safe farm right now. Just missing a CS, but getting the next one afterwards as he keeps stacking up, building towards the next items. 1,200 inventory means pushing forward to the next piece. Derek's been very likely and common as the Jarvis comes through, and that seems expected. They're going to be the dive right there. Arrow's trying to get away. Good Lantern, but he's flashed forward onto the kill comes through, and even Gangplank is set up for more, but they won't chase this one in. Instead, the wards go down, and Optic TP into the mid lane.
Yeah, nice kill there on Arrow. I think you need to flash the knockup. You need to flash the knockup and immediately pop that Lantern. He gets hit by the knockup, and he took so much damage that despite the fact that he gets the Lantern afterwards, it was an easy flash follow there for Bang to get the kill, and now 100 Thieves have run of the map. The gold lead's certainly not too big, and when you count in the additional Infernal, stats-wise, things are basically even with the scaling advantage on the side of 100 Thieves, so I'm starting to like their position more and more.
The exact right person has pretty much all of the kills, so it is set up nicely. It's a good distribution for the Kai'Sa to carry. The gold lead shrunk to 1,500, and certainly doable here for 100 Thieves to advance and move on up in the record. Again, if they win here, they are 1 game behind playoff position. 5 wins, Golden Guardians is the line right now.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Ryu went into the Zeal and then decided to kind of go backwards. So is Bang may get caught out.
Big one. Bang does not have flash get away. Just to make sure it happens, the Lantern comes over. They've got the kill. Nicely done. And what a timing for it with Bang off the map. Baron alive. This could be a play.
Yeah, that could just be Baron that they actually start up here. They are going to go for it. Crown finding a huge pick. And now 100 Thieves have got to try to stop this. GP Ultimate isn't even available. This is going to be so hard.
They're missing 11,000 gold with Bang dead right now. This is going to be a tough fight to win, but they do have a jungler around. Amazing over the wall. Joker trying to zone him out. Here comes the engage instead. 3v4 even harder than before as Joker does some damage. Finds himself knocked up, though, but there's no follow-through for damage. Instead, he's chasing into Fake God. Looking to toss this one down as over the wall goes after. Looking at the next knockup. Not quite finding it yet, but over the wall goes Rek'Sai. There's one kill picked up. Jarvan builds some space. They do at least trade a kill back. The best of a bad situation is a trade kill for 100 Thieves.
Yeah, that's honestly great for 100 Thieves when all things considered. That was a 4v5 without your strongest player on the map. You traded 1 for 1. That's honestly pretty damn good. And now Kai'Sa out on the map, they are going to be the ones who are in kind of the driver's seat here.
It's not even just 1 for 1, it's support for junglers.
Yeah.
So that's even that's a positive trade, even in a good scenario. So props to 100 Thieves right now as they're setting up into this mid lane. Optic taking some recalls, slow walks back. Amazing, maybe in some danger though. He's in a 1v3. Got to find his team, flashes to safety, will stay alive. But mid lane turret now going to take damage with Meteos not there to fight. They actually get a turret out of this play.
Yeah, they're going to be able to grab that mid lane turret, cracking the first one there, which will help 100 Thieves, around that Baron area, help to give them a little bit more access and safety to that. Being able to kind of have that safe bastion has been a pretty big boon for Optic. But here's the fight one more time. Aframu buying a lot of time here. The hook went onto him, but they couldn't actually turn and get the kill. Dokla was off on the side. Meteos was still in the Baron. And then you see Dokla looking for the chase in here. Great flash on the hook from Aframu. And yes, he does eventually go down, but Amazing finds the opportunity, drops the Cataclysm, and Ryu is firing on Meteos, who is that full damage build. So this is not a tanky Rek'Sai. Had no way out there and does now pick up a stopwatch. You can see double stopwatch, Dokla and Meteos, as well as the Zhonya's on Crown, who's now on 3 items, thanks in part to that big shutdown he got. So Crown is monstrously strong.
Crown is very scary, and Bang actually pivoted his build, sold the Brawler's Gloves, picked up Nashor's Tooth.
Okay.
So 20 CDR and 3 evolves. Of course, the Ginsu's Rage Blade has AP on it, so the 80 from the Nashor's Tooth is enough to get that final conversion over. Oftentimes you'd see things like people looking at Banshee's Veils or Death Caps or whatever, Gun Blades and the like, but this is the pickup here, and he's going to have a lot of W spam, basically, right? If he needs to set up for his own dives to be the carry, get into spam W, get 2 or an extra 1 stack on your target, might be the reason you do it.
And I mean, poke is actually fairly relevant, against this type of team as well, right? If you can start to land poke on Crown, something like that, you can dissuade them from taking the fight. Yes, he has a Banshee's Veil, but one of the big concerns right now for 100 Thieves is Ryu's not even on 2 items, Crown is on 3, right? And this is partially because Ryu bought the Zeal, then decided to turn around for the Essence Reaver, so he has neither completed at this point.
It's the same build we saw in the previous game from Phoenix, actually, was also the Zeal into Essence Reaver second, so that might just be the new quirky look. I'm not really sure. I'm not really following mid lane builds, but second time I've seen it today, specifically. Mid lane pushed in, but as you mentioned, yes, ER is done, so max CDR is on the board now for Ryu. And we'll wait to see what comes in as... I think it was actually, sorry, it was Pobelter who did it. Zeal into, I think, IE, and then finishing the Zeal upgrade. But regardless, another Corki did that today, and that's going to be an Azir turret dead, and the red buff is safe. Amazing gets to grab that one, as Dokla actually is going to grab second Cloud. So 2 Drakes in a row got Optic.
And I mean, checking in on that top lane matchup, yes, Dokla is still ahead. He is, 1K or so in the advantage, but GP's on 2 completed items now, right? Gangplank is totally fine at this stage, and this is one of those things. It's actually really hard to press that advantage against the GP, because unless GP is getting absolutely destroyed, you do have such strong wave clear and such safe wave clear. But now they're looking for Crown.
That was a really nice hook. Look at Crown right now, pulling away with the Lantern, and looks like he's going to be just safe enough. After's ult didn't go actually off in time. He got into fog before the cast completed, so actually never knocked up, and out he goes.
Yeah, but straight over to Baron. That's now Flash and Ultimate down for Crown, so that's the strongest member from Optic off the map. He doesn't have teleport, so he has to run back from base. This could already be gone. They're going to teleport in Dokla, though. They're going to try to fight.
Redemption came through already, doesn't help from the Baron. Picked up cleanly there by Amazing, and now Dokla back over the wall, but Culling finds some damage after about half HP. Down to 800, diving in, finding a slow. The knockup's not going to mean enough. And at least there is 1 kill, so is there more? Optic Gaming gave away a Baron, but get a kill.
Yeah, 100 Thieves able to get out with 4 Baron buffs, though only losing on the support is so good for them. And really all off this initial catch on Crown. Such a strong member right now on Optic, and as soon as he got sent back to base, had to use his summoner, it meant they didn't really have enough power on the map to actually be able to contest. So 100 Thieves straight over to Baron and just rush it down. With Kaisa and Corki at this point in the game, you can shred that Baron. And it looks like Bang is heading towards a death cap here, looking very aggressive with his AP build, but about to face check potentially.
Oh, the flash dagger from Meteos. Once again, they find him, and Bang giving another kill away, so down to 3 Baron buffs. And Optic stopping this Baron push early.
Yeah, Bang getting a little bit greedy for that wave. Didn't want to wait at his turret for it. They don't have vision in the area whatsoever, and does give away a big pick. And I mean, look at the map. There's really no wards at all. There's like 100 Thieves ward out on the map. Over here, that's about it, right? This is a really dark and scary place for 100 Thieves, despite the fact that they had the Baron buff. So Bang needed to wait for his squad, group up and push out as a team, and they would have been in a great spot.
And Optic didn't reset. They sat up there on the map. You got like 2,400 gold on Crown right now. He was there to help make the play happen. Top lane, actually, a turret goes down as well. Dokla pushed that one in, keeping his lead relevant and pushing across. Over 1,000 gold lead still for him, last I checked. A little bit, yeah, still over 1,000 gold ahead here, so he's feeling good. And once again, we can watch Bang's point of view.
Yeah, so again, Bang, no vision really in this side of the map whatsoever. The flash engage from Meteos, no chance to react once they're already on top of you. And He knows he messed up. You know, that's one of those situations where you got the Baron. You should be the ones playing aggressive. You should be the ones running the map. And that is simply, you know, a little bit of greed that he is going to have to pay for there.
And Bang took that harder than I kind of thought he would. In a game where you're in a decent spot, he like felt really bad about that one.
I mean, that's honestly the kind of reactions you often see from the very best players. You know, he demands so much of himself that it's like, you're in the position to carry. You shouldn't be making those mistakes. And you know, and he expects better of himself, and I think you can kind of see that from that reaction, and that's an attitude I can certainly respect.
Well, Baron power play down to 21 gold right now as top tier 2 but under fire. Blue goes over to Ryu, which is not relevant on a CDR or mana perspective with this build, but at least he has the buff and steals the gold away. Meteos going to be pushed back over his tunnel, and you can see this turret now in the top lane down below half HP. The squad's still pushing forward. Nice hook, but that is the tank. It's going to be hard to kill Amazing. He's going to walk right out of that one. Feels safe box. Oh, I think Big thought it was going to pull him. And he was wrong about that one, so loses an ultimate.
Yeah, not quite able to get that pullback in Ryu. Looking to chip away on this turret, but with Crown in the area, Meteos there too, you do have to be a bit careful. They are just trying to slowly chip away at these two side turrets. Going to be able to get down this top lane turret now. Mid lane turret will stand. 25 seconds remaining. I'm not sure if they can get more, but at the very least, they have a positive Baron power play.
And Bang is actually converting all the way into AP kites. You can see Death Cap coming in next, and you actually look at the builds out of Optic, and it's a bunch of Ninja Tapping and Guardian Angel. Not going to find that, but now the flash, and they're going to get the knockup for sure. The follow through, the burst damage, the shutdown. Crown is gone, and so is mid lane tier 2. They can push for a bit more. Meteos on the wing is going to play far away, but these minions, as the Baron buff times out, they might get a little bit more unless it can be cleared.
Yeah, I think Ryu might just be TPing back in. Yeah, he based. He bought the rapid fire. They want to
flash for the knockup, and Big is already tiny. He's down, and now Dokla in the side. Bang's low. Bang's got to be careful. One kill means a reset and a revive, but they're not going to get that just yet. Going to put down several kills. Guardian Angel now down for Dokla. They'll find that one. He's going to flash, though. The chase in. They're going to get their 4th kill in a row, and only Meteos is left alive. 100 Thieves pull the trigger. Meteos can't find that kill. He's looking for Bang, but his base is going to die. A smite means something, but back in the base is so much damage. There's the wave. There's the win. 100 Thieves going to go 4-3 with this roster, picking up another win against a playoff opponent, pushing up the standings.
100 Thieves moving to 1 game behind the 6th place team right now. They are in the playoff hunt well and truly. And what a decisive finish to that game. It looked like Optic had withstood that Baron buff. They decide to go for the play, though. They're the ones who try to look for the pick onto the Corki, and Afromu was there to turn it around. Flashes in, lands the ult, and they just burst Crown down before he could get that Sonya's off.
Yep. The whole squad, I think, did play this one quite nicely. Ryu, yeah, he gave it some plays, gave some CS, but he roamed down to the bottom lane, made that one look really good. Bang. A couple of stumbles, but some really good team fighting overall. Got away from that last one with under 100 HP, survived, and let the dive happen. But really impressive, they turned 1 pick into the entire game. He found Crown, Afromu did, and that was the entire game from there.
And it really felt like on the side of Optic, Crown was their team at that point in the game. You know, we saw earlier when Crown got picked, it meant Baron, right? They just didn't have enough power, I think, to match the scaling that 100 Thieves had without the guy who has A, their best scaling, and B, their most gold, right? You know, this was certainly a team that was very reliant on Crown at that point, and when he goes down, they can push aggressively to try to end the game. But yeah, no, I was very impressed with not only how Bang played, but Afromu, I think, had a very strong game. You know, he was kind of giving his life for the team in a lot of circumstances, but he was engaging very aggressively. Yeah. And this is a nice look to see from Afromu, you know, diving in, starting the fights, getting a 2v2 kill against Lucian Thresh, this powerful laning duo, and even finding that final pick for the team.
Yeah, really impressive stuff. Honestly, those openers were really big. I like how Bang was able to follow up. I liked Amazing the whole time as well. I thought he was on point. So 100 Thieves across the board, really well done. And for more on that victory, obviously standing by with Amazing for a quick interview.
Thanks, guys. Amazing. Congratulations on the win. And what a quick victory at that. It feels like you turn around, you blink, and you guys took the game. So tell me about that ending.
I mean, Asi got caught, not assaulted, and made it really easy. Like, usually on these rotations, it's really clean, and you expect the enemy to play perfectly, and if they don't, you win the game, so.
Abracadabra. Magic. Magic the Gathering Arena. Wow, magic.
Gee. So maybe he's got some time.
His opponent's turret and push up.
And made it really easy. Like, usually on these rotations, it's really clean,
Quick victory at that. It feels like you turn around, you blink, and you guys took the game. So tell me about that ending.
I mean, Assasin got caught, not assaulted, and made it really easy. Like, usually on these rotations, it's really clean, and you expect the enemy to play perfectly, and if they don't, you win the game. So that's what happened.
And a great victory today. You had a little bit of a rough week last weekend going 0-2, but you played against some pretty tough teams. So how did you guys learn from those games, and how'd you bounce back?
I don't know if we learned from those games, but I felt like it kind of showed against TL at least that we have confidence on stage, even if you're facing a better team. So for us, it was a good experience. So we took that, I guess, and used it this week because we knew we were going to face a weaker opponent in Optic, and we'd probably win against them.
Now, there are quite a few teams kind of sitting up at the top. Everyone's tied for first, but you're only a few wins behind them. But you do kind of have to claw and climb up there. So in your perspective, is it harder to sit up there and try to maintain playoff position or trying to climb up there?
Completely depends what the aspirations are. I think for someone like TSM, it's not hard to stay on top because they're always going to play hard every single scrim. But for other teams, when they're surprising at the top, especially at the beginning, like we've seen it so many times that they just crash and burn at some point. So, and I think that may actually be happening to some teams now. So.
And we saw on Twitter just a few days ago that you posted that after meeting up with some ex-pro players or current pro players, you felt like a personal disconnect. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what that meant for you?
Yeah, it's really weird. I think I'm a really different person between 2016 and afterwards. I think what happened then, like all the things that happened within my life, with my personal life, with my professional career, especially 2017 then with Fnatic, like really changed me as a person. It made me more humble, it made me realize that honestly, the pro player life is really short if you don't care enough or if you don't put enough effort in, if you don't focus enough on it. And just seeing everyone around me like kind of mature in the same way that I did, kind of made me realize, oh, we're really different people now than we used to. Even when I meet Björksen, like let's say, and I see him, whatever it is, like it's the same thing, you know, like I'm so different, he's so different, and just like all the other pro players like over the years.
That's a nice change of perspective. The last question I had for you, I know that you were in California before, but just a few weeks ago, we had quite a few earthquakes, and I wanted to know what your opinion was, or what your experience was actually during them.
I don't even know, like it was, I've never experienced something like that. I think when the last time I was here, I think we had like one minor earthquake, so I didn't really get the real shake, which happened this time around, and I was, yeah, I mean, it was a good surprise during scrims, you know, so.
It was during scrims. Did anyone get up or pause the game?
We're just like, what's happening, you know? So, yeah, we definitely had to pause a bit, but minor disturbance.
I don't know if you're a true gamer then. True gamers play through that, but basically, no, I'm just kidding. Congratulations again on the win. And for more on the game, let's hear from the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Thank you very much, Avli. Playing through the earthquake. Love to hear that.
Yeah.
Safety definitely doesn't come first.
We can die doing what we love.
Hey, but perhaps playing through that earthquake is what brought 100 Thieves to the point they're at now, picking up more wins after a tough 0-2 week yesterday against some of the top teams. They're now tied in 7th at 4-7.
I'm feeling really good about myself.
You better be feeling good about yourself. You predicted this.
I was right.
I feel extra bad because I not only predicted Optic, I have their stock.
Oof. Oh. You know what I said? I said that because something's gone, their bot lane has to carry. You know what happens? They solo killed the other bot lane this game. Sure, Bang got caught twice, which we're not going to talk about because that runs opposite to my
in the reel, we'll find out.
Yeah, but their bot lane kicked ass during lane, and that's what you need to see more of for this team to win.
Yes.
And this was a big problem because they basically had counterpicked for the side of Optic's bot lane. You know, they took the Thresh here to try and counter this out, and they were still getting solo killed. And that's a huge testament to how much better Afro and Bang are playing compared to at the start of the season.
And this is a testament to how poorly Optic is playing these team fights, because this should have been something that has a little bit more coordination when Optic Crown goes in and makes such a big play, but the end result is not nearly as spectacular at what that looked like. And I think a big part of it is mechanics continue to plague many of our North American teams here. You need to set this guys up and help them out.
Let's say Dokla played that dragon fight pretty poorly on
all right, you said it. Yeah. You said it. I didn't say
that. It could have been a lot better played. I agree with you.
But this it is a point that you've made before, Crumbs, the idea of mechanics for North American teams, and you do see at times the strategic decision might be correct, but the mechanical follow-through is not
vision,
there.
Right? He had vision of 4 people in the area, but he individually chose to engage and chose to die, and that actually was the catalyst that prompted Amazing to go for a really decisive tower dive here. This is something that the old 100 Thieves would have never done in a million years, but instead they do it here, and they end the game off that.
And this was a game which was pretty back and forth. Like, no team had a substantial lead for the most part, so the fact that you see 100 Thieves out-executing Optic in the mid to late game, which is what Optic had been doing well during their kind of winning first half of the split.
That's what I was That started off one player going in. Nobody else said go in. It was one guy, and then everybody else.
The stuff you like to see from 100 Thieves, though, is decisiveness, right? You see amazing brought to the team, like a level of decisiveness from jungle, and recently Afro has been a lot more decisive, whether it's on Rakan or whether it's on like Nautilus here, where these are the things you need to do to punish teams. Like, teams are going to make a lot of mistakes. You have to step up to be able to do it. I'm really happy to see this team do that.
Look at that gold graph.
I mean, the thing is,
it's trickling red every once in a while.
And it's only a 3.2K gold lead. That's the biggest gold lead in this entire game. That's tiny in the scope of, League of Legends. Most gold leads end at like 10, 15K, and even in a back and forth game, it gets up to like 5. So that's how close this game was and how easily it could have gone the other direction if Optic cleaned up their decision-making a little bit more when they did pick Bang that one or two times it happened.
And I think, to your point, Mark, it's a boon to 100 Thieves that they are able to mount this victory over a team like Optic, one that has been lauded for their mid to late game decision-making. And so therefore, the idea that 100 Thieves could take them down by surpassing them in that regard is a boon, or at least proof of their growth throughout the split. Now the real question is, sitting at 4-7, with how far they've had to climb and how far they still have to climb, although only one game back from Golden Guardians currently, but tied with two other teams at 4-7. What's the reality of them making playoffs? How confident are you now with these last couple weeks of play that 100 Thieves is a legitimate contender?
I think we look at first who do we think is a set contender and then see how many